Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to Lawsplaining the Interwebs. I am your host, Nick Rekieta of Rekieta Law, and I do have the full function of my mouth and eyes. And with me today are special guests. I actually have two special guests, Sriracha and Cory. Welcome to the show, guys.
Thanks for having me again, Nick. And I'd like to point out that not only does my mouth and eyes work, but I also do not have webbed fingers.
And welcome, Cory.
Nick, thanks for having me on. My mouth and eyes work too, but apparently I can't figure out how to work technology. So, that's 100% my fault.
So all of the, you heard it here. You heard it here exclusively. It was entirely Cory's fault. However, I would suggest that the chat direct all of their anger, ire, and rage right at me. Because ultimately it is my fault for not having a little more lead time to get my guests prepared. But we are here. We are up and running. This is a special edition of the Greerstream. As many of you know, and some of you may not, Sriracha and I have read through the entirety of Russell Greer's beautiful work, his magnum opus, really. Why I Sued Taylor Swift. It was a masterpiece. It brought many tears to his own eyes, and many tears of laughter and joy to mine.
Brought much drool to my sweaters.
Oh my God, what a travesty that book is.
Oh, good. You've read it then, I hope?
Well, I had read some of it, and then I have listened through your retelling of it. Quite masterful, I must say.
Thank you.
You bring a lot of character to who is undoubtedly a very characterless individual.
Ooh, shots fired immediately. Cory, can you give us a little bit of background about you? Because you have a special relationship with Russell compared to someone like me, who all I've done is learned to be disgusted by him on the internet and therefore to make fun of his writing. But you are closer than that.
Yes, in fact, you might say I have a pretty intimate relationship with Russell. My wife, in fact, at one point called him my best friend, Russell.
Whoa.
Whoa.
I'm not sure how your wife will feel about that, being intimate with Russell.
No, so Russell, about 4 years ago or so, was an employee of mine. He worked for me as a janitor. And so we interacted quite regularly. And I would come home from work and tell stories about his madness. And he had seemed to latch on to me at work. And that is where the nickname, so lovingly given by my wife, my best friend Russell, came from.
Now, are you telling me that the man who has sued Taylor Swift twice because she won't acknowledge him, Ariana Grande once, Katy Perry once, random strippers at least once, the man who wrote books about many of these events, the man who posts obsessively about Taylor Swift, the man who has sent gifts to her family, the man who believed he was best friends with Taylor Swift's brother over Facebook, that guy would have the wherewithal to latch on to you, that he would maybe have this sort of attachment sort of issues going on in his life. I can't see that. I don't believe it for a moment.
Yeah, it seems terribly difficult to believe, right? But nonetheless, he does seem to have some issues in forming healthy relationships, let's say.
I was gonna say words, but you went all the way to healthy relationship.
Well, Cory, call me and Nick your wife, because we want to hear all of the Greer story.
We do. We really want to hear quite a bit about it.
There are some great ones, but more than anything, it's just his overall lack of I don't know, his presence of mind is just not there. He interacts very strangely with reality, and so getting to deal with him on a daily basis was quite interesting.
Now, how is he at taking direction and constructive criticism? Because you had him as an employee. So you had to, I mean, I'm sure you had to direct his activities, maybe offer him correction from time to time. How does he take to criticism? I'm genuinely curious, like not a joke.
He shuts down entirely. Like he makes absolutely no effort to change his behavior. And he just shuts down entirely when he's given any kind of criticism in person.
Hmm.
So
That's disappointing. I was hoping for like you know, the sort of like massive outbursts of rage.
No,
That's what I was going for.
he is a terribly meek person. When you get him off the internet, off his books, whatever he's doing, in person, he is very meek.
Sure, sure. And maybe that might explain kind of why he resorts to these endless lawsuits, right? Because he feels like with his education and vast amounts of paralegal experience that he has he has a power over people in that way that he can't otherwise exercise. I'm armchair psychologying him, but just kind of I don't know, that's kind of intriguing to me.
I think that would be a pretty accurate representation of him. He feels like he doesn't have any other outlet, and so he uses that, to try and leverage what he thinks is a strength of his. Of course, we know it's not, but
I mean, everybody except Russell knows it's not.
Hey, Sriracha, since oh wait, no, I can do it. Never mind. I gotcha. I'm gonna turn you down just a hair. Not your fault. It's mine.
Thank you, Nick.
Yeah, no problem. I take all the blame for everything. No, I just there's a discrepancy between your two respective volumes. So, my chat is also my tech support, which is of course the best tech support because they add all of the requisite ridicule to make you change as fast as possible.
Well, live tech support, it doesn't get any better than that. You fix it on the fly. You always get the best results that way.
True. Yeah, never planning is for idiots. Everything should be done live and completely with no sort of objective behind it. Okay. Well, let's we do have a plan today. What I would like to do, of course, we're going to read through this document. Oh, there it is. I'm bringing it up on screen. You guys can't see it yet. I need to... my desk is still in shape. Manage this. There we go. That worked. This way I can screen share so you guys can see the same thing. All right, let me get the screen share going. 1 second. I know, guys, I apologize in advance. There's no trigger warning on this screen share, but here you go. This is Russell Greer. Wow. Pretty far. I did it. Now, Russell is not a tasteful man. And he did go ahead and provide some explicit photos in his book that I was forced to censor out because Google thinks things are naughty. So here's Russell with at the Bunny Ranch. As you can see, this is his book. Why I'm making it legal for your 18-year-old daughter to get in bed with a complete stranger for only $500. A short essay from a pro se litigant who is challenging the Utah brothel bans in federal court. And those cases are doing very well. Very well. I just wanted to let you all know they're doing great. So I've censored out all of the offensive stuff in this picture. All these pictures on the wall. Very, very, very graphic. Why the mouth? I said I censored out all the offensive stuff in the picture. So anyway, this is Russell. A charming individual. This is anonymous Bunny Ranch employee. Some of you may know her name if you watch enough Cat House or whatever. but I do not. So, yeah, I don't know how we want to do this. Do you guys want to just should we just read through this whole thing? Like,
Nick,
what?
if I can make a suggestion, can you want to start out with the cut passages that I sent you?
Okay, so there are some cut passages to this book, y'all, and let me see. I've got them in the order that you sent them. So cut passages. Oh boy, are they in a particular order? The one with the red dot, is that first or second?
That is second.
Okay, all right. Oh, okay. So we could start with. So you think it's appropriate to start with those passages?
Yeah, just because it really does give you a good grasp of what is going on.
These are good getting in the mood passages?
Absolutely.
Okay, well, let's do it. Go. All right. How do we want to do this? So, Cory, you're familiar with the other streams that we did. What we tended to do was trade off paragraphs of reading. Do you want to take the inaugural read on this thing? Do you want to kick us off as a guest of the show?
Yeah, that sounds great to me. I can do that.
Okay, so why don't you start at after? I'm gonna I'll focus on my screen so that it's the only one presenting here, and it won't like jump back and forth between as you read. So yeah, wait, do I not have the whole thing?
Oh, no. There's just one little set passage, and then the PDF is the rest of it.
Okay, so it ends at we, or is there something else below it?
It ends with
I reach down and.
Right.
Okay. I've got the whole thing on the screen. Should make sure it's all visible. Yeah. Oh, perfect. Yeah. Okay. So Cory, whenever you're ready, good sir, if you just want to start with after and just read that whole section.
Oh, I can't wait for this one. This is great. All right. After I paid the amount in the cash office, we walked like two lovers back to the VIP room. She wanted me to feel like a prince. And in the room, she took her clothes off. I was in love with her body. She revealed a pink bra and pink panties. Her skin was a smooth brown. She urged me to get naked. Yeah, I'm sure that she was urging him for that. She could not wait.
Oh, whoa. Get it off, Russell. Okay, sorry, go ahead.
I hesitantly did so and revealed my decently fit white body. I take issue with that as well.
Never mind. We'll address this in a minute. I'm sorry.
She then got completely naked and revealed everything. Her private area was smooth with no hair. She then kneeled down and put a condom on me. It felt weird. I had never worn a condom before. After the condom was on, she then began to suck me my penis. I was fully erect. She put all of me in her mouth. Her lips slid up and down on my penis. She then stood up and made out with me. She kissed me in a way that helped me with my disability. We even French kissed. I reached down and he couldn't be bothered to finish his thought there, apparently.
Yeah, oh God. It goes on. It goes on. So how do we want to do this? Do we want to have you continue? Because it's one giant paragraph. Russell's skills with the pen and his usage of punctuation, grammar, and proper line breaks are phenomenally well known. But do we want to have you finish this off, or Sriracha? Should I do it, or you, or what do you think?
I think you should go ahead, Nick.
Okay, yeah.
Well, really quick, while you bring up his proficiency with the pen, I will just say there was a moment in his other book where there was some question about whether or not Mr. Hoff had written a supportive letter for his lawsuit. And I can say with some pretty decent surety that Russell did, in fact, write that because he had shown me at one point um, something that looked very similar to it and was asking for my opinion on how well written it was.
Oh.
Oh, wow.
Whoa. Not a good look, Russ. Not a good look. All right, let me go ahead and should I let me finish this off here. I'm gonna go back to I reached down and grabbed her pussy. Wow. I put my fingers into her vagina and began to finger her. It felt so good. Her vagina was so smooth. I put my fingers up as far as I could go, exploring inside of her. This is revolting. After a while, we laid on her bed and began to have sex. She put my penis in her vagina. Well, I thought that was okay. Those seemed out of order. Her pussy was so tight. She began to ride me. After 20 minutes, I exploded in her with the condom on me. I laid on the bed and moaned as I ejaculated in her. Come on. It was like fireworks were going off. After a pleasurable minute, I was done coming in. It was the best thing I had ever paid for. More importantly, I felt cared about. I felt like I was actually alive for the first time in my life. But what was sad was that I couldn't talk to anybody about my happiness. If I did, I would lose everything. I didn't come out about brothels until after I graduated and was working a non-religious job. Now, flash forward 4 years later to 2017. I have been to Hoff's brothels more times than I can count. It wasn't even the sex that made it great. And trust me. And we don't know what to trust him on, but that's it. I
tried so hard to find this version of this book with this passage in it, but for some reason, guys, it got cut in the final version.
Oh my!
Oh, why would he want to cut that out?
I know, right?
I mean,
it's such a masterpiece.
That was top shelf, right? And there again, folks. That is your John. What's his face? I can't even think of his name. I'm actually offended, which is hard. Don Casanova, right there. Wow, that was a spicy passage. Gross. Well, should we persist on? Do we want to break that up with a story or just go straight into it?
I have a question for Cory, if you'd like to break it up.
Yeah, of course. Go for it.
I do. I need a moment to recover because I am revolted.
That was pretty brutal.
Too erotic for you?
And guys, later on in I think somewhere later in the show, we'll read that same passage with the lips. So you get the full effect of it. We'll revisit that passage with the lips. So, but yeah, what's your question for Cory?
Cory, at one point on Kiwi Farms, we had a gentleman or a young woman talk about her experience working with Greer as a coworker. And what they told us was that he prefers to eat his lunch in a very secluded area, like the room for breastfeeding mothers, and he leaves it just a disaster afterwards. Is that something that you've experienced, or?
I will say I don't know that I ever knew him to like seclude himself while eating. Honestly, I didn't pay that much attention to him. I do know that he was not very tidy after himself, though, in general. So I couldn't speak exactly to the eating portion, but
I have to wonder, like, what is the worst food for him to eat? Like, it's got to be like a Subway sandwich has got to be a mess. Like a pile of fried rice, that's got to be a disaster.
I don't know. You got to figure the Subway sandwich just slides right down, right?
Well, it depends what you get on it. I mean, if you get lettuce and stuff, that shredded lettuce has got to be everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
Imagine a meatball sub would be a disaster.
Those are disasters for normal people. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. So for those of you just joining, because we did have quite a few people join since we started. We are talking about Russell Greer, one of my personal heroes, who is fighting for the right to have brothels in Utah. He's fighting desperately in federal court for it, and by fighting desperately, I mean he took leave to appeal the motion for like a default or summary judgment or whatever, or the ruling of summary judgment against him. He has now taken leave to appeal it, and I don't believe he has filed. So he has filed. He's fighting very hard for it, but it's not going very well for him right now. Russell is a man who you will be tempted. You will be very tempted. And Cory, maybe you can speak to this. Our guest is Cory, who is a former employer of Russell Greer. That is why he's on the show. He's here to help us understand the man, because we only get the man through text and the internet, but he's helped us here to understand the man in person. But Cory, I mean, Russell does have a serious disability called Moebius Syndrome, right? Which means that his eyes are basically paralyzed forward. They don't move left and right. And his mouth is paralyzed to the point where it doesn't close. So his mouth is always open. It impairs his speech. It makes things like eating and drinking difficult. And at first glance, like you are, at least I was, you're very tempted to be immediately sympathetic towards Russell's condition. Like, oh man, this guy's had a rough time. But what I've learned, and some of the viewers here are not familiar with him, that's why I'm leading it off with this way. What I have learned over my research of Russell is do not be fooled by the syndrome, because the man is more than his disability, we'll say. But did you want to speak to that at all? Because it seems like it'd be very disarming.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we would see that all the time, and he would try and play it up as much as he likes to say that he has defeated his disability or whatever he says about it. He absolutely leans on it as a crutch all the time. Anytime you asked about him receiving criticism, anytime we would give him a little bit of feedback, his default response was, "Oh, it's because I'm disabled." And
are you sure it wasn't David?
Yeah, that was closer. And it's like, no, it's certainly not. It's just because you don't know how to use a broom. You can't seem to figure that out.
You'd think you would have learned by now how to use a broom after every meal. So anyway, well, let's go ahead. Let's get into this text, because I cannot wait to get into the text. And if you have any interjections or stories between paragraphs, please don't hesitate. Don't hesitate to regale us with a tale of Russell. So here we are. You guys can see this, I hope, right? So you'll be able to read what's going on.
Yep.
Okay. And Cory, you can see the book here, or do I need to do something?
Nope, I've got a copy of it.
Oh, okay, perfect. All right, well, let's. This is Russell Greer's book. Sriracha, since we men took the erotica, do you want to go ahead and start with the serious literature happening here?
Of course. Something just isn't making sense, Bishop Frey, my Mormon bishop 3 years ago, said quizzically as he studied me like a private investigator searching for his evidence to press charges. I was in my last semester of college, a Mormon college in Salt Lake City, Utah, and was preparing to graduate the very next month, but that was all threatened now by a person who I thought was my friend. But this friend went and told the bishop about my exploits in Nevada. You see, to be enrolled at the LDS Business College, all students had to agree to live by not only an honor code, but a moral code, a code that says you could not have sex before marriage or you could be expelled. But for 3 years, this Mormon college student had been taking trips out to the bunny ranch and was far from a virgin.
Sorry.
What a weird place to brag about that. My trips were acts of necessity. None of the female students wanted to date me. So
So
what's a
hold.
boy? No, go ahead.
Sorry, sorry. So I just want to comment on the none of the females wanted to date me, because this was something that he tried at work all the time. Anytime that he would we'd get a new female employee, we would have kind of a warning session for him that Greer liked to just hang around them all the time. Didn't matter what the female employee looked like. He would just make it an effort to be around this new employee as much as possible.
Oh, God.
That's not true. That is not true at all. I don't believe it for a moment. Only every word of it. Only all of the words are believed.
And surprisingly, he's actually right in this. None of them wanted to date him.
No, you can't convince me of that.
Can you believe that didn't work?
Now, surely there's been some woman out there somewhere who's like, you know what? Sure, I can get past all of this. It's just the whole personality thing, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, you have to imagine that there's some woman that's forgiving of this particular thing, but when you just kind of hang around their workspace for like 2 or 3 hours at a time, you don't really talk to them, you just stare at them. That's not
God.
usually a really good look.
Yeah, I mean, what do you mean? Women aren't swayed by someone breathing heavily, maw agape at them while they're trying to make. You ever rented a funny ranch?
We'd always have to tell them, now look, it's not because they don't want to talk to you, it's because like you have work to do, Russell. Like you can't just be there for 2 hours out of your shift.
Oh, wow.
Oh, God.
And he couldn't seem to understand that.
All right, you want to carry on?
Yeah, where did I leave off? So, what's a boy to do? To make matters worse, I was also employed with the Mormon church, so both my job and my college degree hung in the balance of what went down in this room with Bishop Frey. You say that you've never been to a brothel, but 10 people have come forward and testified that you have. Frey continued. Why are you telling 10 people that you're going to bang whores?
Yeah, I feel like that's not a great choice when you have to live by this honor code.
Yeah.
It's not a great choice for anybody.
Wait a minute, you can't be lying. That would be breaking the honor code.
Yeah, where does that fall in like the hierarchy of bad?
I don't know.
Nick.
You gotta, I guess the lying is bad, especially when the lying prohibits your humble brag of definitely not being a virgin anymore.
Sweat fell off my brow. I didn't know if I should be praying to God to let Bishop Frey go easy on me, or if I should be using my brain to get out of this situation. Finally, inspiration hit me, and I think it was from my brain.
Bishop, I said, it was all a joke. I just said all this for attention. I'd never been to a brothel. To this it stopped, glanced at me, and then began laughing. You want to carry on, Cory? I just had to get the lips out.
Really? He replied with a laugh.
Oh, yeah, here. I say crazy things sometimes, I replied. We both laughed, and then he sent me on my way, letting me graduate with my paralegal degree and letting me keep my job. Oh, gross. Afterwards, I had a sick feeling in my stomach. I wasn't sick because I had lied to a religious figure. I was sick because I had lied about the good times I had at the bunny ranch. I denied my friends Dennis Hoff and Suzette. The best friends. I denied the experiences my lovers had given me. I had denied a vital part of me. To deny one's friends, authors of old have said, is unforgivable. Believe it or not, going to brothels have been the best experience in my life. It's not the lust or the sex that makes brothels good. It's having a partner for an agreed upon amount of time. And giving your all.
To Olive Garden.
Yes, and giving your all to that partner and letting that partner give her all to you and letting you forget your worries your heartaches, your struggles, your disabilities, your whatever. Lust and sex and love can be sold as long as the partners are adults on a bilateral paying level. No, it's a unilateral paying level, Russ. There's only one party paying for this. And are both treated with respect. Brothels have helped a disabled man like me. They have been my refuge during my darkest days. They have been the palaces in the deserts that I have gone to let princesses kiss me, to turn this toad into a prince. When you have nothing. What was that?
It didn't work.
No, when you have nothing, just having something, even if it's paid for, means everything. Very profound. I now seek to share my happiness with others by trying to legalize brothels in Utah, and hopefully my lawsuit, filed October 11th, 2016, makes this legal nationwide, as was seen with abortions and gay marriage. Because as awesome as the Bunny Ranch is, it's unfortunately too far away for some people. Not everybody can fly or sit through 8 hours of car or Amtrak travel. Wow. He just went ahead and put him right up there with gay marriage and abortion. Prostitution's right up there with it. So that's good.
Legal right. Why I'm legalizing brothels. Trust me, I didn't wake up one day and decide to legalize brothels. I like how he talks about this like it's something that already happened. I didn't wake up one day and decide to legalize brothels, nor did I wake up one day to venture into a brothel. I had been a product of my environment my entire life because I was born with a disability termed Moebius Syndrome, which means I can't close my lips nor really use any facial expressions. It has been a shame because I really wanted to be an actor, but without facial expressions, it makes acting hard. I'm also a musician, but my disability makes singing hard as well, so I have to pay others to do my music.
Wait a minute. Cory, have you ever borne witness to the music of Russell Greer?
I have listened to it, yes.
Did he, hold on, we gotta have a conversation here. Sorry. Whoops. Did he, so you said you've listened to it. Did he, like, play it for you? Did he bring it in and say, here's my track that I'm working on, or did you just get it on the internet or anything like that?
I just got it on the internet. I think most of his songwriting was post my involvement with him.
Yeah, you said, because this was before he had sued Taylor Swift.
Right, yep. So this was during the time of his prostitute lawsuit. So, where he said the prostitute had stolen from him.
Right. So he loves brothels and prostitutes so much that he went ahead and sued one who stole money from him, or stole from him, not money, but I think time and opportunity to bang her was what she stole, right? Because he decided to take her to Olive Garden.
She also made off with unlimited breadsticks.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's but the way he always phrased it was how much money she had stolen from him, and he never told the whole story. So I kept getting these bits and pieces of it, and I thought that he was like, maybe he had left his wallet in the room or something, and she made off with a bunch of money from him, and then come to find out, no, he's just an idiot.
Yeah. Okay. So the backstory for those who are new here is that Russell went to the Bunny Ranch one time. Not the time that he described, I don't think, but a different time. He went to the Bunny Ranch. He paid for something like 4 hours of time. Maybe it was 2 hours. He paid for an amount of time with his lady of the night, or of the daytime, as it were. And because I think he got there in the morning. And as part of the Russell Greer prostitution experience, you don't just get meaningless sexual encounters that you will throw away. No. You get much more with Russell. Russell actually takes you from the Bunny Ranch by limousine to the highest quality restaurant you can find, which is the local Olive Garden there in Nevada. And he then proceeded to, picture this, someone who cannot close their lips, presumably ate a giant plate of pasta in front of the woman he was going to take back to the bunny ranch to defile. That was his plan. But he spent too much time at the Olive Garden, and when he got back to the bunny ranch, his hours of time to spend with this woman were up. So he was not able to consummate their very short relationship, if we can put it that way. So he sued her. He sued her.
And that was where he made up the letter, Cory, because I don't know if you know this, but his slam dunk evidence was a letter from Dennis Hoff. Dennis Hoff was allegedly also supposed to testify on Russell's behalf, I believe, but miraculously never showed up. Dennis Hoff, God rest his soul. So you're saying you think he wrote that himself?
I am fairly certain, because he came to me one day and he says, "Hey, look, you know, I know you got a degree in English literature. Can you look over this for me?" And I was like, "Oh, okay, sure. I'll take a look at it for you." And I read through this like nonsense, and I told him it doesn't make any sense. Like, it doesn't flow logically. There's no argument to be made here. And he was a little upset about that. But
you had to do a literary criticism of this falsified evidence. I'm sorry. That's I shouldn't laugh at that.
It was wonderful. I thought it was some fiction he was writing at the time, and then turns out no, he was planning on using it. So there are some changes between what I read and what's in the book, but I'm pretty sure.
Well, that was just a first draft. It had to go through some revision.
That was it. He took my notes to heart and really made it work for him.
I love that the chat is like, wait, this really happened? No, guys, it did. If you're wondering why we're talking about this guy, it's because, one, he's one of the most litigious people on the planet. So he's definitely within the scope and definition of this channel. We cover all of the greatest legal cases and legal minds out there. And Russell is a stunning legal mind, a titan of litigation, who is happy to use his massive education experience as a paralegal to determine himself to be on par with the best of attorneys and take on real titans like Greg Skordas and leave Skordas crying in the courtroom as he defeated him valiantly in small claims court, suing Taylor Swift in Utah, effectively. Like, gosh, you've got to go back. If you're new to all of this, you've got to go back and watch the Russell Greer streams. They're all in a playlist for your pleasure. Please do it. You will not be disappointed.
I'll tell you guys, it's worth a watch. I didn't even believe that he was doing all of this stuff, and I've met the guy. It is hilarious.
And it's his words. It's his word. Like, this is not us making fun of him and like reading into some legal documents. He wrote a book detailing everything. He wrote a book where his lawyer friend, Ken, the most real lawyer friend of all time, definitely recommended him to sue Taylor Swift, and then was firebombed by a Mexican gang member who is probably employed by Greg Skordas and Taylor Swift combined in the middle of Utah in a black BMW or whatever.
With a Molotov cocktail.
Yes, through a Molotov cocktail. But he lived. He was able to escape the Molotov cocktail napalm mixture burning his skin off, and did apparently have a full recovery in the hospital, and was like, go get him, Russ. You follow your dreams. Never mind. Don't worry about me and the fact that your ridiculous antics got me actually firebombed. Just go ahead and carry on, sweet prince.
And remarkably, none of this made the local news. But of course, that was Taylor Swift's fault too, I'm sure.
Greg Skordas had the news suppressed. Didn't you read that?
Oh, that's right. That's right. My mistake.
Shut that down with music industry money.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Cory, Greg Skordas has complete control over the Utah
yes.
press syndicate.
Now that you say that, I do recall hearing that somewhere.
Yes. What Skordas did was he called up all the news stations and he said, "Listen here, better not run that story. Suck me my penis." Okay, where are we? Where are we?
I don't remember.
I gotta go back. I'm sorry. I have to go. I have to go back. No, not that one. We have built a wall around this conversation, and I have to go back. So, there you go. We were
About paying somebody to do his music, I think. So I have to pay others to do my music. Besides the hindrance of aspirations, living life in general has been hard. I still remember being in grade school and having bullies follow me around and mimicking me. And then there was the time when I reached puberty and I began liking girls. famous last words. But I discovered girls didn't like me because I was disabled. I still remember being a junior in high school and somehow being the date to the prom queen, but she did not want to be my date.
And then how did it happen? What happened?
You think it was like one of those charity things where
Had to have been.
Look, if you want to win prom queen, you're gonna have to bite the bullet and go with Russ.
And she immediately regretted it.
I mean, I would. I remember all of the couples dancing to that slow song, marking that incredible night of their lives, and me standing alone, seeing my date dance with somebody else. My painful experiences in high school and with dating led me one night to tie a belt around my neck, but I stopped and decided that instead of killing myself, I was willing to pay someone to love me.
I don't think he realizes that you can't buy that. Like, it's...
Wait, who says you can't buy love? Sorry, no, that's a song, I think.
I like how banging whores is his alternative to suicide. Like,
look,
what are you gonna do on Friday night? Either kill myself or hit up the bunny ranch.
Look, I've got two options here. I'm gonna Minecraft myself, or I'm gonna pay $2,000, get on a train, and go to Vegas for some sweet economical vagina. That's gonna happen. Oh my goodness.
And that's when I discovered the bunny ranch. I tried going to the ranch when I was a senior in high school because I was 19, but even after I left a deposit, I ended up not going due to fear of flying. Soon after, I spent 2 meaningless years of my life being a Mormon missionary in Phoenix, Arizona, sweating around, preaching about God, but not believing anything I was saying, baptizing people, but not feeling happiness. My mind often reflected on the bunny ranch, and I was determined to go there. I knew I could find happiness there. I even tried escaping my mission on a Greyhound bus to go to the bunny ranch, but my mission president stopped me, and my parents kept me on the mission because me coming home early would shame the family name.
Well, thank God he avoided shaming the family name by stopping the mission. Sorry.
No, everything since then has brought great honor to the family, though.
Yeah, he's done so well. The Greer name will go down in the annals of history, of Mormon history, as absolutely immortalized with nothing but. Yeah, never mind. I can't even finish. Sorry.
Wait, I just realized in that paragraph, he says he was 19 when he was a senior in high school. What the hell was he doing being 19?
Threatening to kill other students, I believe.
Yeah, you heard that story, I'm sure, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just wondering, like, how did he get to be 19 as a senior? Was he held back at some point?
I don't know. Maybe with the threats, he had to repeat it or something.
Oh God.
I don't know. Yeah. That's just more, guys. That's just more lore of the Russell Greer that you'll have to research on your own. Why Russell Greer got arrested for allegedly threatening to kill several people in his high school. So after 2 years, nothing changed. The Mormon women did not flock to me because I had served a mission, something that attracts Mormon women. Sorry.
So this is something about Russ. He's very procedural. Like, he thinks if you put in the right input, you get a certain output.
Yeah,
And,
I can get that because that's the whole thing with Taylor Swift, right? I worked on this song for 2 years. She has to listen to it and also suck me my penis. Like, that's just how it works in his mind. But it's hashtag not a date.
That's also his modus operandi of hitting on women on Instagram, is he always says, I'm the coolest guy here, and over and over and over again. And then he gets really mad when they don't respond. Like, he hasn't been rejected 400 other times.
It's, yeah. Okay. I can't. Something that attracts Mormon women. And people treated me like the usual idiot they saw me as. Well, after that sentence, I don't blame me. Not praising me for spending 2 years of my life helping others without pay, like rescuing homeless guys off of train tracks as trains sped at them.
Wait, didn't that happen to him at one point too?
Yep, I think a homeless guy did save him from dying by train. Wasn't he a wise homeless man, Sriracha? I can't even remember.
No, he was actually the Kevin Landau of Utah who recommended that he sue Taylor Swift for $100 million in federal court.
I don't know why you would say that man was the Kevin Landau of Utah. That man was clearly a visionary and a genius.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I meant the Greg Skordas.
Yes.
But at a higher level.
Right. Because, yeah, it was Greg Skordas' boss who saved him from train. When I got home, I finally found my birth family after being put up for adoption, and I reached out to my twin sister. But to my horror, my family had swept me under the rug and wrote me off as dead. None of them wanted to connect. As I went to college, I received straight A's, X for doubt on that one, but could only find work as a janitor. Hey, there you go. I think that's you, right?
Oh yeah, I can confirm that. He definitely worked as a janitor. I mean, poorly, but I mean, he was there.
Because no office jobs wanted to hire a disabled college student. And even after I graduated college with my paralegal degree, and I had done internships at my attorney general's office, no law firms wanted to hire me because they needed somebody to talk 100% clearly for the clients. I mean, why would communication be important in the legal field? After a year of searching for a professional job while working 2 janitor jobs, I was so lucky to find the law firm job I currently have, parentheses had, doing intellectual property law for Fortune 500 companies. Even working in a law firm, girls would rather date good-looking guys who are living in their mother's basements than educated and ambitious guys like me. And don't even get me started with online dating and Tinder. Needless to say, after all of those events, I have truly become a product of my environment. So going to a brothel should be no surprise.
Why would that be no surprise? Is that just like the default when something doesn't go your way, you just end up at the brothel?
Yes. That's how it goes. We've got, I've got a very specific chat that just came in. I saw. We do have a bunch of chats to go through at some point. But this one I want to read right now because it's relevant to right now. Tess Not on Holiday sends, as someone who's also disabled, it's not that hard to get a girl to be even somewhat into you. And I hardly ever got bullied, specifically because of that disability. But then again, I'm not Russell Greer.
Nobody is.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the thing is, it was never about his disability. Like none of the females we worked with were worried about that. It was because he was creepy as hell.
Yeah, I think the time that you have to, where you're dealing with, I don't know this to be true, but I think in the world of interpersonal male and female relationships, the point where things like disability matter are when one of the parties is disproportionately like more attractive than the other. And I mean like several rungs up, to the point where you know, there's a perceived necessity to have someone of equal attractiveness. I don't think most people fall into that group. I really don't. I think that that there's plenty of evidence that you know, you can find someone if you're willing to adjust your own standards and your own perspectives. But of course, unless you're a pile of human refuse.
I mean, that requires a certain level of introspection, though. You have to have some theory of mind about yourself to be able to make that judgment call, and he has none of that.
Yeah, the least offensive thing about Russell is his disability from a female perspective.
Anyway, so Cory, I think this is your paragraph.
Yep. But when I finally went to the Love Ranch North in 2013, sparks flew. Fireworks were going off. I had never felt so cared about. Now, flash forward 4 years later to 2017. I have been to Hoff's brothels more times than I count. It wasn't even the sex that made it great. And trust me, I like sex.
Man likes sex. News at 11.
Throw up in my mouth a little bit.
What was so great was having a partner that cared about me or your money, and somebody that I could be myself to, being in a safe, illegal place without the fear of police or angry boyfriends rushing in for committing the simple act of being intimate with another adult. This is why I want to legalize it elsewhere. Everybody deserves this opportunity of protection and peace. So does he think that he has a chance of like stealing some other guy's girlfriend away from him?
Yes.
He actually thinks that's a possibility for him.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Sriracha, I have to take you to task on something.
Yes.
Just a minute ago, you made a comment that was so brazenly ableist and offensive. And I can't stand by. Like, who would I be as a lawyer allowing your horrific discrimination, your disgusting display of ableism? You said you threw up into your mouth, something that Russell cannot do.
Yeah, and I also caught it.
How dare you? How dare you? You cannot do that. Not here. You can't talk about it here. So I would expect an apology, maybe a written apology in the form of a letter signed by Dennis Hoff, apologizing to Russell that he could maybe use in a lawsuit. So
Russell, if you're listening to this, I deeply apologize for my functioning 14th cranial nerve that I so brazenly display.
Okay. You're up, by the way. You're up.
Yes. To people like former President Jimmy Carter, though, I should be arrested for paying another adult for passion. In a May 31st, 2016 op-ed publishing the Washington Post, former President Carter argues that legalizing prostitution gives young boys the idea that women can become modified and that it creates a society where women can be treated like objects to curb. Why does he have the citations in the middle of the? I'm just going to skip those.
Yeah. Well, there's he's a paralegal already at this point, right? Yeah. So this is how
think so.
There's actually two methods of legal writing. There's scholarly writing, and then this is more of the style you would write where you're filing a document. You would do inline citations, whereas with your scholarly articles or your law review articles, you would do footnoted citations.
So he did learn something in paralegal school.
Yeah, I mean, I'm guessing that's why he's doing it this way. Is he's writing it as a persuasive argument piece that you would use, like, but it doesn't make any sense because this isn't anyway. Law review articles are also persuasive, so I would have for this thing I would have footnoted. That's me. Sorry. Go
Well,
on.
what it didn't teach him is the ability to like properly use quotations, because this just proves the opposite of his point. It the idea of prostitution definitely did influence his idea of commodifying women.
No, no, no. He's definitely getting love and exchanging love along with his money. The what it also didn't treat. Look at this paragraph. This whole section is
Oh
one
my
brick of
God.
text. So sorry. Why don't you get on back to it, if you
All right,
will, please.
no problem. Not only is President Carter's op-ed very hurtful, President Carter, is he the one that wrote that? Okay. Not only very hurtful, but it is hypocritical. He fails to slam the guys who patronize strippers or who pay nude dancers or to pay to film a scene with a porn star, which I think is basically prostitution, but it is being filmed, therefore somehow making it not prostitution.
No, it's
I
art,
don't.
Russell. It's art.
I mean, who's to say what art is?
It's the Supreme Court has said over and over that if it is without artistic value, then it is obscenity and can be regulated. And porn has withstood the test of time as routinely artistic, even though it is, in many cases, literally just there's not even a pretense of story anymore.
So if he makes a drool painting on the stomach of the hooker that he's banging,
Oh my
it's art, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Oh.
As long as he captures it, you got to put it in some sort of medium to share with others. So that would be nice, as if he were courteous enough to share that with the world.
I'd buy it. This is my biggest complaint. We are a nation of hypocrites. We fail to see the adult entertainment business all connects together, yet somehow we only go after prostitution and label it bad, but dancing on tables naked is somehow tolerable. As I often say, legalize it all or outlaw it all, kind of like Iceland did, which bans everything from brothels to strippers. In my honest opinion, I think strip clubs should be outlawed more than anything else. In strip clubs, the strippers are naked for all eyes, even if they don't want that one guy in the corner seeing them naked. They can't be selective of clientele. They have to get on that pole to make that Benji.
You know what? I take back everything I said about his bad writing. That was brilliant. That was beautiful.
What does that mean? This must be before my time. Is that common Utah slang?
You got to get on the pole, right? The pole dance to make that Benjamin. $100,
Oh.
$100 bill.
God.
Russ only puts the top dollars in the G strings. We now know only the Benjamins.
Oh, every big city has a strip club, yet every big city slams prostitution as being exploitative. It's hypocritical. Brothels, on the other hand, can be selective of clients, with the girls refusing whom they want to see unless it is me. That's discrimination. And you will be getting a call from the ACLU. And yes, there can be bad guys who enter brothels, but more of a reason to legalize and regulate it. So if guys try any funny business like assault or robbery, they can be arrested a lot faster than if they were at a girl's house or in a car. And that is why I am legalizing brothels. Because believe it or not, President Jimmy Carter, I love women.
He loves them so much he wants to own them.
You hear that, you dead son of a bitch?
Can you imagine the Thomas Jefferson? I love black people too, Russ. I'm with you, buddy. Oh my God.
President Trump, Mexican women are my favorite.
Oh.
I love women. I want to protect them. The women and men and the men engaged in prostitution are our relatives, our friends, our neighbors, our co-workers, the people we went to college with, the people we may see at the gym, the people we pass by, and while it may hurt our feeling or offend us that they engage in something that some may not agree with, it hurts more to know that they were hurt because they had no safety or protection. I may only be 25, but I've learned this valuable truth. We can't stop people from making choices, but we can protect them in the choices that they choose to make.
You know, everybody's mad at you because Jimmy Carter's still alive, and you called him a dead son of a bitch.
Shit, I'm so sorry, Jimmy Carter. I'm so sorry.
It's okay. He's dead inside because he doesn't like brothels. We've learned this. We've learned this.
He has absolutely no empathy. No empathy for the disabled. Damn that Jimmy Carter.
Jimmy Carter. Known disabled hater, Jimmy Carter. Oh, okay. What are we on? We're on page 4 of 8. Let me see. Can we, oh God. He even mentions the Mile High Neon in there. Let's see. All right. Can we go through this page? We'll finish off this page, do the next page, and then can we catch up on some of the chats and then finish up?
Yeah, for sure.
That'd be great. Is it my turn? My turn, I think, right?
Yep.
I think so.
How I'm legalizing brothels. My legislation... oh, sorry, I thought it said legislation. My legalization efforts started on December 2015 when I applied for a brothel license in Utah. My goal was to convince a state employee to give me a license so that I could go to the legislature and try amending the laws. I filled out the... You kind of did that backwards, I think. I filled out the appropriate paperwork online, got a business EIN, developed blueprints, for the brothel, and developed a description of policies and procedures for the business, and gave it a name, the Mile High Neon. I explained in the application why I should be given a license, and I was surprisingly given a registration. So here's his explanation. That's his one-stop business registration, which I'm going to guess is a completely automated process that has no human review, because that's typically how these online business applications go in Secretary of State's offices, is that you literally get it immediately. So here we go. Here's his floor plan and blueprint. And then he got his business name registration, doing business as application for the Mile High Neon. It was approved by the state of Utah. Yeah, I guaranteed this is an automated process. They just approve all of the businesses. Brothel approved. No, Russ, you didn't get a brothel approved. You got your business name approved. That's it. That you can actually do a business name registration for all sorts of illegal things and not have the business approved, just the name gets approved.
So is there a point in which a human has to look at every business application just to make sure nobody's trying to get approval for like Russell's Crack Emporium?
No. I mean, you can call it Russell's Crack Emporium, and that would be, I suppose, an anal only brothel that he's opening. But no, that it doesn't matter. Like, you can get your business name for whatever. They typically don't review your organizing agreement, and like LLC documentation is so sparse that you don't even have to have a mission statement outside of nonprofits. And even those, at least in Minnesota, and I assume Utah is the same way, they don't even look at them. Like, you click submit and you pay your $150 or whatever, and you get your business license within seconds, by email. So they don't look. It's up to you to not break the law, not up to them to make sure you're not planning on breaking the law. That would cost too much and take too much time. So yet again, it seems like Russell is struck by his own complete misunderstanding of how any of these processes work.
Well, there's very little that he does understand from a procedural standpoint. Like, he misconstrues almost everything. You could see it from the things he quotes. He just misreads everything.
Yeah. Yeah, clearly he misreads everything. Clearly he misreads human cues, all of that stuff. Like, stop staring at me. Also, that puddle of drool is disgusting. Well, let's do some chats here, and you guys feel free to answer or address these as you desire. Siren Jag says, oh God, I'll be glad when this stream starts. That photo of Greer has to be the thing in the Taco Bell that destroys anuses at 3 a.m. and leaves some poor register worker standing there in a reverse chalk outline. Gross. That's an unfortunate quote. First Last says, toasters aren't furries. And stay thirsty for justice. Nice tits. Bacardi 4-year was a bad idea. Oh, Bacardi 4-year was a bad idea. Signed Henry Greenhill. Toasters aren't furries? That reference is lost on me. Do you guys have any idea what they're talking about?
Not at all. I'm sorry.
Nope. Nothing.
Okay. I'm supposed to shill the merchandise. If you go to the Rekieta Law Teespring page, there's some new merchandise up. It may be up below the video. The new stuff, I don't know if it's actually up yet on the scrolling thing, but it will be either today or tomorrow. But make sure you watch out for new merchandise if that's your thing. If you want shirts and all that stuff, check it out. Mithrin Emrys says, Nick, you big tease. Yeah, a convention is going on next weekend, so that's a bad time for lawsuits to drop. But the Monday after, Ty effing rocks the tactics. Well, I mean, I don't know that the lawsuits are going to drop on Monday, but let's just say I have a pretty good source suggesting that maybe lawsuits are going to go out on Monday. Not this coming Monday. It would be a week from Monday following KamehaCon. And that would be unfortunate that right after they have their little sad alternative signing, that lawsuits would be going out to the first round of parties. That's the Vic Mignogna stuff. We don't have to talk about it too much right now, but if you guys have questions later when we get done with Russ, I'd be happy to answer. Takaki Onsai says, should I stock up on shares of ConAgra, Diamond Foods, PepsiCo, or should I go for non-popcorn stocks / commodities? Monday, 4:15 should be fun anyway. I think it will be fun. TL Universe says, technical difficulties. Oh my God, it's just like the old gypsy woman said. Silent Schism, thank you for the donation. Brett Wyatt says, Nick, I am suing you for being late. These are all still before the show. I know nothing about the law, but I'm sure it'll work out for me. You just watch. Kickvic told me so. Roman Morales says, kept you waiting, huh? And I am sorry about that, but again, we had some audio issues, and we thought you might want to actually hear us rather than just see us like mouthing at each other. Asia Fraser says, cops, ha! Real law enforcement is in corrections. They deal with criminals all day, not just for an arrest, outnumbered and usually unarmed. Drink to correctional officers. So there you go, guys. Have a sip. Have a sip for correctional officers. Coop says, I see what you did there. You waited till Ralph ended his stream to start. Classy move. Thank you. Yeah. Oh, by the way, much condolences to Ralph. He lost his father over the past couple days, and that's got to be tough. Talbot Link says, can we call Rial's signing event altered reality? Sure. Steven Severin says, it's been a few months. What did I miss? Not much, buddy. If it's been a few months and you haven't watched, you're right in the Greer zone. So it's perfect. Gengio says, Nick, Rick later than usual. Silent Schism says, nice of you to join us, dump weed. Thank you. Takaki Onsai says, Sriracha sounds hot. That joke was inevitable. Ha.
I get it.
Yeah. I guess spicy Sriracha sauce. Keck7Go says, is Cory related to Greer?
No, I am not related to Greer at all.
He follows up with, the resemblance is uncanny, which, I mean, I think that's rude. That's rude.
I mean,
yeah, what'd this guy do to you?
Keck, I mean, what did Cory do to you, Keck? Goodness gracious. Also, Sriracha, hi. Org lives matter, and do not let Asterios ever act otherwise. That Greek monster, he should be ashamed of himself.
He should be ashamed of himself.
There you go. Let's see. Forever229 says, he sounds like Donnie from Ted. UUOP Loop says, thanks for the entertainment and updates. You're welcome. Forever229 says, he even looks like Donnie from Ted. I watched from Ted? What is Ted? I keep thinking of Better Off Ted, and I don't think that's correct. TK says, for the cause, brother. Nunya Biz says, what? Oh, Ted, the movie. with the teddy bear, Mark Wahlberg. Do you guys know what movie I'm talking about? Please.
Yeah. No, I know what you're talking
I
about.
think so.
Yeah. Who looks like?
Yeah, who looks like that?
Was Donnie Mark Wahlberg's character in Ted?
I don't remember. That was so long ago. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I don't know. TK says for the cause, brother. Thank you. Nunya Biz says, why is there a fetal alcohol syndrome version of Napoleon Dynamite's brother on screen? Oh, tip with the Moebius. The Spaz Cow says, Nick, can you go over the Alex Jones deposition instead? Not tonight, but I do want to go through it. I want to go through it and like maybe clip it up and stuff. Talbot Link says, this reading, goosebumps and nausea. Forever229 says, hey baby, can I show you my chair? Bow chicka wow. Bow wow. Gross. Is that a Shane porn? Lucifer Love Monkey says, read it slower, Nick. Can you do a sultry voice? Oh, we got a sultry voice coming for you. Ryan English says, Nick, WTF is this and why? Shame on you. No, not I didn't write this. Russell did. That's your former people, Ryan. Cormoran says, okay, rackets. Time to grab the lips and show us how to kiss and cure our disability. Gross. We'll do like 5 more. Amanda Martin says, just got here. Why are we reading bad erotica? How dare you call this bad? Coop says, that woman wasn't paid enough. Regardless, can you imagine his face after blowing his load for the first time? Probably looks like his normal face. Oh, God. Storm Knight MD says, I've heard more eroticism in high school dirty jokes than this drivel. No can fap to that. Try harder, buddy. Raikkoon86 says, hi, Nick. I'm going to be on my first trip to Japan. In case I can't keep up with the streams, I hope you have a good week. Hey, you too. Have fun in Japan. Rhinosaurus Rex says, Zarbon voice. Oh, my. That's not the Zarbon voice, but I'm going with it. And finally, Randy H says, Nick's new career in reading erotica. Oh, man. That would be great. Like, do erotica audiobooks exclusively as a job. Maybe I should try that. Fun. Well, let's get back.
They'll pay you for it.
Yeah, let's. I'm gonna do that. That's gonna be my new life, my new life's ambition. Let's get back to this text. I think Cory, it's your turn to go in.
Yeah, we'll do. Nick, before we get back, what are you drinking tonight?
I have Glenlivet 12 in the glass here. Oh, here I can do. Let me do for the stream. For the stream, let me do a special drink. Hold on.
Nick, turn your camera on.
I'm gonna.
Oh.
So we gotta. You guys have to understand the struggles. Struggles with Russell Greer. So we're gonna drink Glenlivet 12 out of square glass. Square glasses are racist against Moebius Syndrome. It's all over my hands. At least it didn't get on my pants. Here we go. Let me try one more time. I think you gotta be more aggressive with it. That's the trick. Delicious. It's so easy to drink whiskey this way.
I believe you. Yes, definitely.
Are you drying the mouthpiece?
I'm drying my teeth.
don't want to lose any of that Glenlivet.
No, you got to get it all in. You got to get it all in. Okay, back to our regularly scheduled programming. Thank you for asking. That was revolting.
In January of 2016, just as I was getting ready to go to the legislature to show how I was given a license, the state revoked my license, apparently realizing what they had approved, even though I clearly explained in my application what my registration was for. Therefore, a cause of action began. I developed a plan to run a legal brothel, a chance to run the same as strip clubs and escort companies, both legal in Utah, and I was denied. It was similar, I guess, to the gay marriage fight when 2 homosexuals were denied licenses. I began writing a complaint to the...
It's the same thing. Sorry. Oh, okay.
No, definitely equal there. I began writing a complaint to challenge the laws, and I stated that the brothel laws violated my First Amendment rights of association and my 14th Amendment rights of equal protection. Furthermore, I argued that there is no rational basis in banning licensed brothels.
Wow. At least he got the proper constitutional.
While there are no... Oh, sorry, is that
No,
yours?
no. I was going to say go ahead, but go ahead.
While there are no related legal cases of people trying to legalize brothels, our country, fortunately, is a common law country, which means that previous cases of any nature can create precedents for future cases, regardless if they are directly related. So, therefore, many previous cases, either related to prostitution or not related to prostitution, created precedents. The strongest precedent for my case is the case of Lawrence v. Texas, 2003.
No, it isn't, Russ. That's a terrible...
After I read this paragraph, can you tell us what this actually is? Because I'm sure Russell took a very creative interpretation of it.
Yep.
Which establishes that morality is not a basis to outlaw immoral conduct, which many prostitution laws hinge on being immoral. While the court said they weren't talking about prostitution or gay marriage, they clearly said at the end of their arguments, as the Constitution endures, people in every generation can invoke its principles in their own search for greater freedom. So maybe in 2003, the court wasn't ready to let their ruling apply to gay marriage or prostitution, but they were willing to allow other generations to use the Constitution for legalization. And that's what the gay couples did in 2015, thus legalizing gay marriage across the nation. Further, the majority's strongest argument for my case is when they write that there is an emerging awareness that liberty gives substantial protection to adult persons in deciding how to conduct their private lives in matters pertaining to sex.
Oh, okay. Real quick, Lawrence v. Texas is a landmark case because Texas had a law against sodomy that was applied only to gay men. That's it. The sodomy law wasn't applied against men and women. The sodomy law was not applied against anybody but two gay men. And in Lawrence v. Texas, if I remember the details of the case, it was two men in the privacy of their own either home or motel room by themselves with no one else involved and not a business transaction, just having themselves some gay love. And the cops busted in on hearing that they were committing sodomy in violation of the law and then cited them for their sodomizing, right? Like that was Lawrence v. Texas. So Russell is trying to, he's going ahead and saying that, and the court's case in Lawrence v. Texas was one that, you know, people should have a privacy interest in how they conduct their own sex lives. But again, missing the obvious, I say again, this, I've talked about this in some other contexts, but missing the obvious distinction between going to a business where you pay a third party to engage into a sexual act with the other party of the transaction, right? Like you're no longer private. You've hired a company to assist. There's another person involved, and privacy is eliminated when you do that. It's why you have no Fourth Amendment or Ninth Amendment privacy interests in your banking transactions, in the numbers that you dial on your telephone, because you're engaging a third-party business to conduct that private affair. So no, Russ, Lawrence v. Texas, trying to use that to justify your personal brothel thing is an affront to gay rights. They fought very hard to take away, and again, like whatever you think about homosexuality doesn't really matter. The law was being applied only to gay men. If two gay women engaged in sodomistic behavior in Texas, no one cared. No one cared. It was only gay men. So it
No,
wasn't
you
even
don't. You
just
don't.
sorry, go ahead.
You don't get it though. This shows that Greer is being discriminated against for lacking the ability to buy love.
Yeah.
That court case shows it.
Everybody knows only disabled people aren't allowed to open whorehouses. How do you prove a sodomy? Like, would you have to walk in on the act?
They
Couldn't you
literally
just...
did, yeah.
Oh, God.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Oh.
So
Those poor gays.
yeah, I like
Just...
that. Oh, I like
Oh,
that.
no, sorry.
We're about to talk about Scalia's dissent in the Lawrence v. Texas case. Go Scalia. Stick up for those Catholic values, buddy.
Cool. Justice Scalia's dissent also paves the way for my case, as Scalia cautions that the majority's opinion causes a massive disruption of the current social order and calls into question every other morality-based law. The author argues that Lawrence may very well have left all moral-based legislation vulnerable to constitutional attack. Scalia specifically argues that Lawrence calls into question prostitution laws because of the impossibility of differentiating between sodomy and other moral laws.
I mean, there's a pretty big there's a pretty easy distinction, and this is one of Scalia's bad opinions in that it's inconsistent with his typical constitutional views, and you can see his Catholicism coming through. If you and you can like this opinion all you want, but to recognize it as consistent with Scalia's other constitutional opinions is disingenuous. It certainly is different to say that that two people engaging in a consensual sexual act that doesn't involve money is necessarily the same as two people engaging in a consensual sexual act that is lubricated by cash. It's very, very different.
And hopefully something else.
Yeah. Mega Monster 1234. My professor is a hardcore liberal, but she actually said Scalia's dissent was very good. Scalia's dissents are always very good. The problem with Scalia's dissent is it's inconsistent with his other writing. That's the problem with it, because it goes against his values, and you'll find a couple cases where when they do, Scalia's constitutionalism gives way to his moral principles. That's fine. It's just funny. Okay, sorry. That's law nerd coming out. I'll put that away. Besides the guiding ambiguity of Lawrence, there is both mandatory and persuasive Supreme Court case law relating to prostitution that guides my case. In Agency for International Development versus Alliance for Open Society International, the United States Supreme Court ruled that prohibiting non-government organizations from receiving governmental aid for not avowing an anti-prostitution stance was a violation of their First Amendment right to freedom of speech. Agency created a precedent for my case. No. It allowed for another option to be opened up aside from the government's belief and laws. If a person can freely choose to give money to condone and help those in prostitution, or take a neutral stance, then why can't a person believe that regulated prostitution can help protect those wanting to be in it and implement a US-based model that helps contain prostitution and that has demonstrated an incredibly great safety record? Ignoring a problem does not make it go away, nor does arresting persons involved in it. Now, I'll agree with Russell here. I'm very much pro-legalized prostitution. I'm 100% for it, unironically. But the way he goes about it, I don't think is the best way. But that's me.
I'm pro prostitution and anti Russell Greer.
Yes, that too.
Let's outlaw Russell Greer.
That's yeah, we should definitely. That should be a constitutional amendment.
Just outlaw him.
I was musing on that earlier in my on Wednesdays in my Discord group. I do private chats, or well, like not private chats, but we do live chats. And in California, you could get pretty much anything on a ballot for a constitutional amendment with 50,000 signatures. What if we got a ballot initiative that Russell Greer was not a human just thrown in there, and we could enshrine that in the California Constitution? Just 50,000 signatures, y'all, to unperson Russell Greer legally. But anyway, sorry. Yeah, Cory, do you want to go on?
The second case that supports me was decided by the Canadian Supreme Court in 2013. In Attorney General of Canada versus Bedford, the Canadian Supreme Court ruled that the country's laws against brothels were unconstitutional. While the ruling comes from a high court in another country, it is a persuasive ruling because their legal system is not too different than the American system. Any commentary there, Nick?
Let's see, because from high court and the Canadian Supreme Court is very, very different. Actually, they use a lot of. They use common law, but they also use some other stuff. There are different protections. I mean, I guess the underlying structure of their legal system is sort of not too different, although it's closer to the UK system, obviously, than American. The principles which guide it are vastly, vastly different. I mean, remembering that our legal system both came from the UK system but was a break from it. So I don't know. It's not a persuasive ruling at all, actually.
Shocking. He got something else wrong.
Yeah, I mean, you're not citing Canadian law if you're trying to overcome a state prohibition on brothels, right? Like, that's just not where you go. But anyway.
They are a common law country like the United States, which relies on case law as precedent. The court argues that banning brothels violates the amendment in the Canadian Constitution that is similar to the United States 14th Amendment, Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms, Part 1 of the Constitution Act 1982, being Schedule B to the Canada Act. Jennifer Coates, a comparison of United States and Canadian approaches to the right of privacy and abortion. I love that he just puts all of that in there, just all at once.
Yeah, I think he's using a Blue Book citation for legal documents again, which is dumb because he's not writing a legal document here. This is just an essay. But
yeah, this should be like the abridged citation.
Yes, if any, or footnoted.
If any, yes, absolutely. Just footnote. The court, in deciding the case, wrote, "The focus of the case is on security of the person, not liberty. It seems that the real gravamen of the complaint is not that breaking the law engages the applicant's liberty, but rather that compliance with the laws infringes the applicant's security of the person." Id at footnote rationale. The unanimous court ruling made a point of saying Parliament has the power to regulate against nuisances, but not at the cost of the health, safety, and lives of prostitutes. This can be applied to the state legislature. The state can enforce and create laws, but they cannot do so when it robs the citizens of the state of security. This case is quite guiding because courts often turn to see how similar countries have acted in similar matters when there is no guiding case law in the jurisdiction.
I mean, X to doubt on that. I mean, state courts are not often turning to see how similar countries have acted. They're turning to see how other jurisdictions, other states, other circuits have acted well before they're going to the country sources. They're going to look first to their own court, their own districts, and then up to the state Supreme Court. Then they're going to look to the federal district that they're in, the circuit courts that they're in. Then they're going to look to the Supreme Court, the Supreme Court wins everything, but assuming there's no Supreme Court stuff. I mean, then maybe they're going to go out of state, but first they're going to look to persuasive secondary sources like law review articles and stuff like that within the states. There's so many differences between US and Canadian law that really matter, especially on stuff like prostitution, that there's no. I know he's trying to write a persuasive paper, but ooh, God. Sorry, go on. Sriracha, please rescue me.
My mind is just blown that he's trying to use Canada. Canadian law when it's already illegal here. We already have a law, Russell, and it said no. Another guiding legal authority is the United Nations. Several subgroups of the United Nations support the legalization of prostitution and the implementation of brothels, such as the World Health Organization, the leading authority in the United Nations for health-related matters, which argues that legalizing brothels will help prevent HIV with mandatory condom use and policies that protect sex workers and their customers. Holy shit, that was all one sentence.
Yes.
It should be noted that WHO was instrumental in the eradication of smallpox and handling the Ebola crisis, so therefore their judgment should be given significant authority. The Supreme Court has turned to the United Nations in the past to help guide them in decisions. Another UN commission that supports legalization of brothels is UNAIDS, which says UNAIDS. We gotta UNAIDS these hookers, which says laws that criminalize and dehumanize populations at the highest risk of HIV include men who have sex with men, sex workers, transgender people, and injecting drug users, drive people underground, away from essential health services, and heighten the risk of HIV. Accordingly, while the state can argue that sex workers have high rates of AIDS, it really is the state's own fault for the epidemic and their flawed laws that do not work in preventing the disease or stopping the conduct.
It's the state's fault for spreading AIDS. That's what it is.
I knew it was a government plot.
We knew they were behind it the whole time. What they're trying to do is kill what was the list? The gay men, the sex workers, the trans people, and the drug users.
Yep, Russ proves it.
And also, the FBI invented crack. Criminalization does not work.
Let's see. Oh, that's the end of it after that citation.
Yeah, I guess so.
All right, here's the last paragraph of this beautiful essay. With all of my cases and research, all of them, he's one American case and one Canadian case. That's it. That's his... With all of my cases and research and my heartfelt personal story laid out and explained, it truly is hurtful that the news won't carry my real case, yet they continue to cover how, quote, bad prostitution is. It's quite damning. By them refusing to cover this case, they are basically saying they don't care about the disabled, or that they don't want women to have protection or security, which is so ironic because the media slams President Trump for his rhetoric against those two groups. Regardless of how the judge rules, I have a voice, and I have made an effort to try changing the laws. I hope that my voice and my story can be shared so that the opposition, like Jimmy Carter, can be drowned out because his opinions are truly hurtful. I'm not less of a man, President Carter. Can you hear it? Have you guys seen The Elephant Man? That movie, The Elephant Man from...
Yeah. I am not an animal.
An animal. I can just see Russ. I'm not less of a man.
As he slobbers on Jimmy Carter.
This brothel is my home.
I'm not less of a man, President Carter, for paying a woman for intimacy and sex. I'm just a human being who was born in a circumstance that he had no control over, and I am only trying to handle my situation the best of my ability. The country espouses equality for certain groups having marriage and intimacy. Does equality not also apply to the disabled and to women wanting to work in the industry? If the law is fair, equality will be given. This is my hope. Mic drop.
A powerful ending.
It's magnificent in its own way. What an absolute travesty. What an absolute travesty of an argument. You know what's great? So Russell goes to Canadian law. Russell goes to an obscure, like a very abstract Lawrence v. Texas sort of reading, borrowing a dicta line from Scalia's dissent. So when you're doing Supreme Court case analysis, you have two types of information. You have useful and persuasive authority, and then you have dicta. And dicta is where a justice just muses about something, right? They're going off on some sort of tangent. And that's what dissents are often full of dicta, because they're making a more principled or moral argument or a societal argument, not a legal one. The legal arguments you can separate from dicta because they're within the scope of the case directly. Lawrence v. Texas is directly about two men engaging in consensual sodomy in Texas in violation of the law. So all of the legal arguments are going to revolve around that. They're going to revolve around how other states have handled that, because this is at the Supreme Court level. That's how the legal reasoning is going to go. The dicta is going to be their comparisons to other things, where Scalia's like, this might invalidate. And Scalia, by the way, was not making a pro-prostitution argument in his dissent. As Russell is saying, like, with Lawrence v. Texas, we're just opening the door to prostitution. That's what they're doing. Scalia is warning the populace based on his moral opinion that both sodomy and prostitution are wrong. That's what Scalia is doing in that dissent. He's not joining Russell's efforts to legalize prostitution here. He's saying, well, if you're going to legalize gays banging, we're going to just have to legalize whores on the street. Like, that's where he's going with that argument. It's a very, very weird choice to go with, because it's so opposite of what Scalia's intention was. But it's dicta. He's using a scare tactic on the other conservative justices to vote his way in Lawrence v. Texas. That's what he's trying to do. So,
well, Russell's use of that is the same thing that you see from everybody anymore. They see a buzzword in some kind of legal ruling, and they assume they understand what it's talking about because it has the word that they're looking for. It doesn't matter if they're actually reading it correctly, but it has the correct word in there. And so they're going to cite it anyway, even though they're entirely wrong in their usage of it.
Yeah, that's true. Very much true. Well, that's the text that we have. An absolute disaster of writing. Sriracha, do you have any critical commentary of the text itself?
My favorite, I would say, I trying to imagine where that lovely paragraph we had about the explicit sex Russell had with the hooker was. I imagine where he tactfully changed it to "and sparks flew." But I can't imagine. I can't imagine why that was cut.
I can tell you exactly why he went to "sparks flew," though.
Why is that? Because his jaw?
No, because of Taylor Swift's beautiful song "Sparks Fly" on the album Fearless, which would have come out. When was Fearless released? Gosh, no, I think it was earlier. Taylor Swift's Fearless would have been 2008, but that would have been, I think, the album subsequent to the one with 15 on it, which was oh no, that's the one with 15. It's his favorite album. It also has a song "Sparks Fly." Sparks Fly. So he learned the language of love from Taylor Swift, and was already utilizing it in his persuasive writing.
It's incredible. So we should read next. We should read. He has out a business plan for his whorehouse that he never got to realize.
The Mile High Neon.
Yeah, it's like 18 pages of just pure insanity.
Yeah, I bet it's good. I bet it's good. So does he describe the activities that happen inside the Mile High Neon?
I don't think so, but he does describe the layout of the lobby, his decorating choices, his very pedestrian decorating choices. He's going to he's very clear to say that he is going to be the brothels. He's not going to run the brothel, but he's going to be their legal advisor. I can't imagine anybody better suited for the job than the man who's making prostitution legal.
Well, he's been very effective so far. I can't see why they wouldn't want to have a non-licensed attorney advising them on their legal issues, especially one with a glowing track record of success that Russell has. Why wouldn't they want him to advise them in all legal matters? He definitely seems like a good choice for a brothel, which will presumably be the first and best brothel in Utah. They would not want to hire like competent counsel. They would not want to consult with the attorneys for the Bunny Ranch or any of these other places. They would want Russell to do it. That'd be great.
Should get Greg Scortis to do it.
I'm sure they wouldn't run into any issues, upon opening. Wouldn't be people protesting him at all. So Russell can definitely handle this.
Yeah, he'd be great. He'd be great at it. We've got so I've got a bunch more chats to go through. Where did I leave off? And then I would like to, after we go through the chats, as a final salute, I would like to read through that statement with the lips on.
Oh yes.
But again, if you guys, if anything catches your eye or ear or whatever, feel free to stop me and we can talk about it. And Cory, I do want to hear some. If we got any more story time with Russell, that would be beautiful.
Yeah, can I ask Cory one more question before we go into super chats?
Yeah, go ahead.
So Cory,
I gotta.
No, I'm sorry.
Sorry, I was going to say I got a couple stories lined up that might be interesting, but feel free to ask any questions. I might not be able to actually speak to them, but I'd be happy to answer what I can.
Right. Okay. Oh my God. First of all, I'm very excited for these stories. So Russell has been very, very silly on the internet for a very long time. When you hired him, did you know anything about, because I know this was pre-Taylor Swift lawsuit, but he had also tried to sue. Are you familiar with the MTV show Teen Mom?
I mean, vaguely.
He tried to sue one of the teen moms.
Yo, he tried to sue Farrah Abraham.
Farrah Abraham, yeah.
Oh my gosh, it's great.
So when you guys hired him, did you like not Google him, or did you just like, well, damn, we really need a janitor, we get some government points for hiring him?
So if I understand the timeline right, that was actually after he had attempted to sue the prostitute. So I think he was attempting to sue the prostitute after he had already been hired with us, and then he moved on to Farrah Abraham, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, okay. So that makes more sense.
Really, we caught him before all of his litigiousness started. And then, him being stolen from by the prostitute broke the dam, and the litigiousness flowed forth.
Sriracha, do you know why he tried to sue Farrah?
He tried to. This is actually a pretty funny story. So he wrote Farrah Abraham a song, I believe. He also tweeted at her suggesting that he and her should go on a date. And some poor unpaid intern that was running Farrah Abraham's Twitter account made the mistake of liking that tweet, asking her on a date.
Contract signed, baby.
Yeah,
he was
Russell
in.
Considers that to be an ironclad contract and sued her for the date he was so unjustly denied.
Come on, Russ. Oh my goodness. You have to understand. You have to understand, Russell. You have to understand how this man operates. Only in reality. Only in reality. Sorry, Cory, or Sriracha, you were about to ask Cory another question.
Yeah, my last thing was, you said that while he was suing Taylor Swift, he was talking about it at work?
This was when he was suing the prostitute. He was discussing it at work.
Oh, okay. And nobody told him he was insane, or did you guys just kind of ignore him?
We definitely tried. And he wasn't crazy enough to just talk to everybody about this. But he'd grab me in the office and say, "Hey, can I talk to you about something?" I'd say, "Okay." And we'd start talking, and then he'd start talking about suing a prostitute. And I have to be like, "Look, is this work related?" No? Okay. We probably need to end this conversation now. But you seem a little out of bounds here. Like, maybe you don't do this. Maybe don't do this, but let's stop talking about it at work, because it doesn't seem work appropriate.
What do you thought? What do you mean, Nick? Is that work appropriate in your law office? Can I come in and tell you about all the hookers I'm banging and suing?
Please don't ever hesitate to do that. That would. I can only. Guys, let me give you some life advice. This is not legal advice. This is very much life advice. When you're in the corporate world, when you're in any small business, big business, it doesn't matter. You should definitely do is grab your nearest coworker and immediately tell them about the prostitute that you're suing because those breadsticks cost you $14, and that was just a small fee compared to the $4,000 that you spent not banging a hooker. You should definitely talk to everybody you can talk to about that at work during work hours. That's the best time. The best time. And where you get the best advice.
I was just gonna say, to be fair, I can't think of anything I would rather do less after eating Olive Garden than have sex with a hooker.
Yeah, that's like, I don't know where you go. Like, I really don't know the go-to pre-hooker food. But Olive Garden is not high on the list. Not high at all. The garlicky, oniony, carb heavy.
I don't think there is an appropriate choice. Like, why are you taking them to dinner? Just have sex with the hooker. If you gotta go to the hooker, just have sex with them.
You're wrong, Cory. It's Outback Steakhouse.
Oh, yeah, my mistake.
That's the only correct answer.
It's just 2 bloomin' onions each. That's how you do it. The Outback Steakhouse. No, I mean, the answer, Cory, you are wrong. Absolutely. Because you are looking at this as a transactional exchange of sexual intercourse. Whereas it is not that at all. It is a transactional exchange of a micro marriage. Where the entirety of the wooing, dating, proposal, acceptance, and consummation, and then divorce all happen within the time that you have booked with your prostitute. That is how Russell Greer sees his prostitution encounters. That they have to want it. And they have to want it from him wooing them, not paying them. Despite all of his protestations about paying for it, it's not about paying for it. I can guarantee you that. It's about them needing it. Which is just disgusting. That's somehow worse. That's way worse than just dropping a couple Benjis on the bed.
Oh, God. I never want to hear that word again.
Okay. Let's read through these. First Last says, my bread has been toasted and my cord has gone limp. I love you. That's disgusting. Talbot Link says, take that Subway sandwich dry. Spooky Nerdy Skellington says, yes, the Sriracha lolcow hour. Coop says, I bet this Nibba makes eating a simple can of Campbell's tomato soup look like the O.J. Simpson crime scene. Oh my God. Don't eat your tomato soup inside a Ford Bronco, please. Dirk Lamone says, take a look at this story. Video shows UK soldiers shooting at image of Labour leader Jeremy Corbyn, investigation launched. Okay, I'll look at that. Not right now. Spooky Nerdy Skellington says, Greer should be used to the look from someone about to press charges. Jane James says, as a Mormon, Greer does not represent me. Iron Mater says, it does not count if you pay for it. Please inform Mr. Greer that his virginity is still intact. Oh, rude. Wyvern F says, 18 naked bunnies in the showers at Bunny Ranch. Sriracha, have you heard the Ram Ranch song?
No. Oh no, what is that?
18 naked cowboys at Ram Ranch. In the showers at Ram Ranch. It's a beautiful song. You might need to look at it. We can't play it on this stream. But it's a beautiful song about love amongst cowboys at the Ram Ranch. It is on YouTube. I would highly recommend you give it a listen.
I promise I will.
And make sure you find one with lyrics on the screen, just so you don't miss any of it. Bad Player says, which is worse, Canadian or Utah paralegals? Right now they're running neck and neck, but I think Canadian paralegals are worse than Russell. At least the ones I've encountered. Ristercrap says, please burn all of that text, then please burn my ears. There's no saving you. Sorry. Night of Hope X says brothels probably actually should be legal though. Morally, I'm opposed, but I can't think of a legitimate secular reason for which they should be banned. That, and we have a black market problem. We could probably eliminate that by legalizing brothels. That is the argument. It's a good one. It's a much better one than Russ made, in all honesty. Short Round says, is that the Walmart version of Will Wheaton? I don't know who... Are you talking about Russ? Bird Reich says, was just feeding stray cats in the park and came across a pile of tranny ashes and bullet-riddled burkas arranged into the words, "Get Josh on." What is the meaning of this mysterious missive? Well, that's very descriptive. I think they want Null from Kiwi Farms on here, but no, not tonight. We'll get him on again, just not tonight. Rhinosaurus Rex says, all I can imagine with him eating pasta at Olive Garden is the scene in Ace Ventura when he has the asparagus in his mouth. Is there something in my teeth? Gross. Weirdo with the cello says, would you skip the erotic sections for a shot of Fireball? No, that would actually make me read them twice. I'm going to do just a couple more, and then I'm going to ask Cory for a story that he has lined up. I want to hear one of those. Tommaso Choco Taco, thank you for the donations. Lucifer Love Monkey says, here's money to read the erotic sections with more feeling. Oh, we're going to do that. Talbot Link says, honor is everything. Spaz Cow says, shameful display. And Gengio says, I never thought I'd be saying this, but can we have Shane back?
Who is Shane? They're talking about Shane a lot.
Shane is... Okay, so in this Vic Mignogna stuff, Shane was a guy who apparently has helped organize several anime conventions in his history. And Shane kept calling me out on the law, saying that I was incorrect. Which, unfortunately for him, I was not. And I was very, very confident in my legal research because this particular issue I've been researching for well over a year due to other cases that I've been talking about. So just by happenstance, I'm pretty well versed in this section of law, and I knew my interpretation was correct and his was a problem. Although he called me out for not inviting him as a random nobody onto my show, which is weird because, you know, like, why would I invite this guy who I've never talked to and has no following or YouTube channel or legal expertise at all onto my show? But it was a Saturday, so I thought, okay, come on my show. We'll talk about it. And we got on the show. I was expecting sort of just a conversation where I would explain to him the legal issues at play, and then we would go on with our merry lives. And it actually turned out to be a complete disaster for Shane, as he questioned my credentials, questioned my knowledge, questioned my credibility, and was quickly shown that I actually knew what I was talking about. All the while, he was literally reading Discord and being sent Google links by his Discord, which were also incorrect. And not just incorrect, they were off subject, which was a bit embarrassing. So that's Shane. It was a glorious interview. And then, I read the super chats, and he said he'd stick around through the super chats because the chat was agreeing with him, not with me. And after about the 8th time someone called him a soy-filled cuck, he left. It was pretty funny. Also, his chair was an abomination, and it needs witness protection because that was gross. His chair, the leather was like worn off of his chair. It looked really slimy. Very sad state. Anyway, so that was Shane. Well, Cory, could you go ahead though and tell us a story? You said you had a couple stories lined up.
Yeah, sure. So probably one of my favorite stories with Russ is he comes to me this time and tells me that there's a bunch of customers following him around and calling him names. You know, really, really rude stuff, terrible things that you shouldn't call other people. And I say, okay, who is it? Let's go see what's going on. You know, figure out what's going on for Russ, because we're trying to be considerate of his disability. At this point, he hasn't been truly insane.
That you know of.
That we know of. Yes, he's not blatant about it at this point. So we're looking all around for this supposed person that's been following him around all day, calling him names. No sign of this person. They're like, all right, well, if they show back up, can you tell us what they look like? We get a really vague description. Uh, and we say, okay, let us know if this person shows back up. And then he comes to us and says, this same person pushed all of this merchandise off the shelves. And now I have to clean all this up because they pushed all this off the shelf. Bunch of broken merchandise. We said, well, where is this person? I have no idea. Okay, he ran off. Like, well, okay, I guess that makes sense. If you break a bunch of merchandise, run out, sure.
Right. A normal response. To book full speed to the exit.
Well, and it's pretty normal to just like push a bunch of stuff off a shelf for no apparent reason because I don't know, you hate the disabled.
Well, I mean, do you not do that?
Oh, I do.
Every
all
time,
the time.
Time I'm in a Walmart and see someone rolling by on a rascal, I just walk over to all the glassware and throw it on the ground immediately.
I'm so angry. There's a disabled person. Hulk smash.
No, that's my exact response every time. Just gotta break all this shit all the time. So we clean up all this stuff, and then he decides that he needs to call the police. And we're like, why are you calling the police? You can't, I mean, there's nobody here. You can't tell me what they look like. No, we're not calling the police for you, Russ. There's nobody here. Just clean up all this stuff that I'm pretty sure you broke. I'm pretty sure you pushed all this shit off the shelf. Just clean it up and stop bothering us.
What a charming... What were you going to say, Sriracha? Sorry.
Was the guy's name Horatio, and were the names he was being called maybe Hefe or Esse or Oi, that's the hombre that sued Taylor.
We got our eyes on you.
And now we're gonna break all your shit, Esse.
Even pre-lawsuit to Taylor Swift, she was out for him.
Of course. And we come from the side, man. You won't even see it coming. You can only look straight ahead. That's disgusting. I mean, never mind. I don't know what to say to that. It's like
teardrops on my guitar changed my life, Esse.
Oh my gosh. When you're 15 and somebody tells you they love you, you're gonna believe it, man. Yeah, the problem with that story is it's depressing because it's not like funny enough to be fake. It's real. No, okay. I left out something on Shane, Sriracha. Upon forensic review of the live stream, it was pointed out that because he was broadcasting apparently from his kitchen, which was a little bit strange, with a view of the kitchen in the background. He had a shoe on his cutting board, so we can only assume that that's a staple of his diet. I'm not entirely sure what brand of shoe it was, but it is confirmed by him to be a shoe. There's a shoe on the cutting board, and he did pause in the middle of the debate to get up from the chair, which is why we knew it was a disgusting disaster. And then he walked over to the fridge and poured himself, without a hint of irony, a cup of soy milk. So it just couldn't have gone better than that.
And that wasn't the most self-aware joke ever.
Nope. He's like, hold on, I need a drink. Gets up. The chair leather again is worn like a 90-year-old who's been working in a desert, prison pit for their entire life. That's what the chair looked like. And then he goes and gets himself a glass of soy milk, walking right past the shoe on the cutting board that was over his shoulder the entire time. Oh my gosh, it was great.
Oh.
What a great person. Timothy Reaper says, have you heard of Marjan Siklich? He's known for, among other things, protesting naked and beating a drum outside Croatian government buildings for a state-run dating service for incels. I mean, I'm sure he's doing well for the cause. Eduardo Ramirez says, couldn't get laid with a legal prostitute. Wow. Now, she would have, apparently, but you have to understand that she was wily and much smarter than Russ. We didn't really get into this story too much. When Russell showed up with his grand plan of dating her, taking her to the Olive Garden, he showed up prior to the Olive Garden's opening time. Like, it's they don't do breakfast there, so they don't open till like 10:30 or 11. So he shows up, imagine like 9 o'clock. He's at the brothel. He pays for his several hours of time, and then they go to the back room. Well, and he doesn't want to make things awkward at lunch by having sex with her before. So they just kind of sit there, and she doesn't say a word because what's she going to do? Like advance on him? No, she just sits there talking with him or whatever. And then they go to Olive Garden by the time it opens. So he burns like an hour and a half, 2 hours of time pre-gaming with nothing happening. And he thought that when they got back, since they didn't have sex beforehand, that time would be tacked on to the end. That was just her freely enjoying his company. So that's why the Olive Garden story, like that's again just another one of those things where Russell's self-awareness was so low that he wasn't understanding that the legal prostitute was, being compensated for being in a room with him in general, and otherwise would have just, worked out another client beforehand if she would have known she had a couple hours to burn.
My theory is that it's even more nefarious than that. I thought he thought that they were going to go on a date and she was going to be so wooed by him being a gentleman. Because Russ has this bizarre modus operandi where he believes that every hot woman has never, ever in her entire life had a single guy be nice to her.
No, never. Only mean guys.
No, go ahead.
No. Go ahead, Sriracha.
It's like you can see it in the Taylor Swift book too. Like Taylor is supposed to burst into tears and start crying over Russell's shitty Songcat Studio poster. So I feel like he thought they were going to go out on this date and then she was going to be so overwhelmed by his gentlemanliness and his Walmart flowers that she was going to bang him for free.
Yeah, that's probably true. And maybe even refund him for the time that was spent getting to know him.
So I'm glad you were bringing this up. This was one of the other things I was going to talk about was this particular incident prior to him heading down to see this prostitute. So he shows up to work one night and he's working the closing shift, and he shows up dressed in his single suit that he apparently has.
Yes. How do you janitor better than in a suit?
Right? And he wears the suit, including the coat, the entire night that he's there. I'm like, why don't you at least take the coat off to sweep the damn floor? But he's wearing it the entire time. And he came in with flowers, and we're asking him, what are you doing here? Like dressed like this, why did you bring flowers? And he's proudly telling everyone, I got to get on the bus right after this to get down to Nevada to go see, and he calls her my girlfriend.
Oh yeah.
Oh, no.
And he's showing us all like the sparse text conversations he has had with her leading up to this point in time. And he's saying, I can't wait to see my girlfriend. Oh, I'm so excited to see my girlfriend. And he's sending her these just long text messages, and she's responding with one-liners like, yep, can't wait to see you.
Oh, that's the sales pitch.
Yep, exactly.
That's just oh God.
He is so excited, and he is proudly telling us how he's going to get on the bus at, I don't know, 10 o'clock at night to get down to Nevada to see this girl. So he showed up there, whatever it is, 8-hour drive. He shows up there at like 7 o'clock in the morning or something the next day.
Imagine you're buying a car, right? Like imagine you're buying a car, you look up the dealership online, you browse through the different models, you're like, ooh, this red Nissan Pathfinder, that is my baby right there. And you start texting like the salesman, and you start telling the salesman these really nice stories about like what you're gonna do with the car. You're like, look, I'm gonna take this car. You know what I like to do with my last car is I like to drive it out into the mountains. I like to sit on the hood and watch the sunset alone. This next car is gonna be, it's gonna be treated even better. It's gonna be treated even better. And the guy's like, text back, yeah, man, this is a great car for the sunset. And you're like, yeah, it is. It's getting my engine revved. Like that's what's going on. I mean, he's getting a sales pitch from a prostitute. Thank you.
Is this a good car to take to Olive Garden?
How's the what I really need to know is how much room is in the trunk. That's what I need to know about this car, because we've got some stuff to put in it.
How many breadsticks fit in there?
Oh God. Oh, okay. Yeah, so that's Tassia says, man, this guy is a real piece of work. He gives us other Mormons a really bad name. I mean, how do you even reach this level of nonsense? I don't know. First Last says, dude, when you have a disability, chicks want to take care of you. Yes, some people have been able, some wily disabled men have been able to weaponize their disability for good. So good on them for figuring that out. Maybe someone should write a book and send it to Russell to read. Drac Let's Plays says, as someone who lives in Utah, I'm surprised I've never heard of such mythic exploits from one such a man. Either that or he's an utter putz. Take your pick. No, you don't understand that Greg Skordas has unpersoned him from the state of Utah with his lawyer powers. Automata says, tagline for the book, I think I need an adult. Talbot Link says, I know I should feel bad hearing this story, but I can't stop sardonically smirking. You should feel bad. You're very evil. Dawn Darklight, thank you for the donation. Tess Not on Holiday says, what? You mean to tell me that this man is trying to steal my girl? Well, that's grounds for an old-fashioned cripple fight, cerebral palsy versus whatever the F he has. I put my money on you 10 times out of 10. Even though Russell did do that one surprising leaping roll through the door of a Radio Shack. To buy a 6-inch HDMI cable. Rick Nikita says, we're all going to hell after this stream. That is true. Krillin876 says, FYI, the SWJ workers prefer the term escort, not prostitute. I don't want to upset them. Otherwise, I am SOL. Cassius Williamson says, all I wonder is where are the people in Russ's life? They're all over the place, right? Like, he has people in his life telling him constantly that this is a bad idea, right? Like all of this, Cory, can you verify that at all? Like he's got some sort of network. I just don't think he listens to them.
I mean, I can't confirm that. He talked about his family like having them, but I have no idea what his relationship with them is.
Here's what Russell's relationship with his parents is, and this is not meant to be condescending in any way. Russell Greer was adopted by Mormon parents. I can't imagine, like I cannot imagine them being anything less than constantly trying to support and direct him towards a more appropriate way of living. Like maybe I'm stereotyping the Mormons I have met and encountered in my life. But like, I cannot imagine them not saying, you know, maybe this is not the right path, son. Like, that's just how I picture adoptive Mormon parents. And maybe I'm wrong on that. Maybe that's a bad stereotype. But I don't know. Sriracha, you have any ideas about this?
Okay, so Russell has a nasty habit of every time anyone interacts with him in a negative way on his Facebook, he will automatically block them. or otherwise mute them or remove them. So what he's done is he's essentially created this little echo chamber where the only people watching are trolls and people who are laughing at his antics. Russell's parents are a real mystery. I have a theory that because in his book, and you take everything in his book with a shot glass full of salt, but he does talk about how his parents begged him not to file this lawsuit. He's talked about visiting parents. I know for a fact he was not invited to his adoptive sister's wedding. And I believe that is because there is a rule in Mormonism that you cannot enter a temple if you are not a practicing Mormon. But apparently he was also excluded from the reception. So I think that his relationship with even his family is very strained.
Well, that sometimes happens when you reject all of the good advice that they try and give you.
Yeah.
Just wonderful. Ash Rin says, is it okay to ask for a shout out for my writing blog? www.kingcrow.com. Did a couple things about Kick Vic and current events so far. Needs criticism. Well, I mean, you just did. That's one way to advertise, and I fully support it. Cornelius Benedict, thank you for the donation. Not sure said, while I am fully behind legalizing regulating brothels across the U.S., I can't imagine a worse person to spearhead this cause than Russell Greer, the man with the least amount of self-awareness on earth. I agree. Asia Frazier says, money given for hugs at cons, arrest Vic for prostitution. Absolutely. Absolutely. That manho needs to go down. Asphyxiation says, glad to see you're still alive, mate. Tell your missus thank you for indulging my amusement with her insanity-inducing crazy eyes. I will tell her that. B Gamer 2047 says, loving the show. As someone who served a mission in Tucson, can't help but feel sad hearing this. He doesn't love himself and lacks self-confidence. That's where you're wrong, sir. Russell has all the self-confidence in the world.
Dare I say too much?
Should I find the clip? Should I find his? I mean, I play it often in these streams, but we've got to have his audition, right?
Oh, of course. Russell
Greer, America's Got Talent. You want to know how much self-confidence this guy has? I'm gonna go. I'm gonna pull it up right now. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
He has so much self-confidence that nobody else could possibly be right.
Now, unfortunately for you two, just because of the nature of how this works out, I can't actually, I won't be able to have you guys hear it unless you like mute me and listen. So that's up to you. Only the audience is heard, I believe. But I apologize. Let's show you the self-confidence. I've got to prove you wrong. This is the self-confidence of Russell Greer. The audition America's Got Talent didn't want you to see disabled motivational speaker. Posted by Russell himself. Here you go. Here's all the self-confidence you could ever want.
For the longest time, I was mad because I had a disability. Now I am happy, and I like to joke that I'm the world's best ventriloquist. I'm here tonight to tell you that you can overcome your disability by doing these 3 easy things. Accept it. There's no point in being mad about things that can't change. And maybe I can't change this, but I can change how I deal with it. By using a slideshow so people know what the heck I'm saying. And free and dance. I'd like to invite you to come and dance with me.
Every time. Sorry. Oh, oh, oh. I'll wait for you guys to catch up. Sorry. I mean that ending. That ending. That look at the end. I can't take that look at the end like, well, my dance is over. Here we are. I'm done now. Thank you. So don't you dare suggest that man doesn't have self-confidence. We had to make sure and clarify that.
I just love the fact that in everything he considers to be of significance, he's wearing that same suit.
Yeah.
Just that one suit, like that's the only thing in the world that matters.
Holy crap, I think that's the suit on the cover of the book, too.
It is. I'm pretty
book?
sure.
I'll pull it up.
Because that's the suit he was wearing.
Oh, he doesn't have the coat on in the brothel book. He's got a shirt and tie. It's a blue shirt with a gold tie. It's not the same shirt and tie that he's wearing.
Now, I can't say for 100% certain that's the suit he wore that same night, but it was definitely a gray suit.
Oh, I promise you that's the same coat and pants for sure.
Yeah.
Right? Because you have to understand that every suit he buys is one less filing fee for a lawsuit that he files. So he can't be wasting money. He's got important work to do.
I don't know. At least the suit would be money well spent.
Talbot Link says, Nick drinks with those lips. Yeah, cough, gah. Automata says, it's all over my hand. At least it didn't get on my pants. Was that you, or did you start reading from the book again? Yes. Yes to both. Asphyxiation says, also, would you be interested in talking about the atheist movement and how it got sabotaged by SJWs? Was the precursor to a lot of SJW stuff, Me Too, etc. Maybe at some point. Austro-Hungarian Strat says, blackface lawyer strikes again. Please, my healing ribs can't take this. Phoenix Lord Asserman says, I feel like I should break out the bourbon for this. Great stream so far, Nick. Grimnor of the North, thank you for the donations. Mimi Cage says, funny enough, many places in Nevada specifically have legal prostitution, except for Vegas. And those are run pretty well, as far as I know. Yeah, legal prostitution is actually not the big boogeyman that people make it out to be. And I hope people don't get the impression that I think it's bad. I would argue that it's good, although there are many people who would argue that legal prostitution shields a secondary black market of illegal prostitution, and specifically underage prostitution, and that legal prostitution does involve trafficked women as well. Yes, all of those arguments are valid, and I say police those things, not police legal activity. Liz Reptile says, I bet the girls at nearby brothels and this guy was the guy trying to help the girls. They're going to quit and go to law school just to do it right. There you go. Talbot Link says, remember, he likes Mexican ladies. He wrote this essay to give the ladies rights for prostitution essay. Sakaki Onsai says, to cleanse our minds, we need more cowbell. Super Captain Chris says, anybody who goes to Olive Garden is very unstable. Bo Stoker says, what in the actual F am I subjecting myself to? You're lucky I'm cleaning. No, you're lucky you're cleaning, sir. Jordan says, what's the best way to get out of jury duty? Well, just say you believe in the death penalty for all things, including, minor infractions. TLJ Screwjob says, this is honestly really sad hearing this. No, I know you're tempted to be sad. I was too, until the second chapter of the book. That's when I stopped being sad. Cormoran says, my girlfriend, still not a date. Deleted account says, Mars Girl made a race baiting post about her marriage. Okay. Joshua Durbin says, let's ship Mars Girl and Greer. Do you guys know what shipping is?
It is when when in your head you hook somebody up romantically.
Yeah,
with someone else.
Is it short for relationshipping? Like,
I'm not sure if that's the context, but pretty much.
Oh,
yeah.
God, I don't know who loses in that situation.
Are you
Everyone.
Are you
Everyone.
familiar with Mars Girl, Cory?
Yeah, just from your stream.
Oh, she's a wonderful individual.
Yeah, she seems great. I think everyone loses there.
Yeah.
All of us.
Life loses. Life doesn't find a way. We hope at that point. The Big Red Bear says, this whole thing is just tragic. I can't take amusement in it. It's just really pathetic. Again, trust me.
You have to laugh at this. Like, you can't believe he's real, right?
Yeah, and that's the thing with Russell. Like, again, because you are tempted. He's disabled. You want to feel sorry for him. Until you realize that it's nothing to do with his disability and everything to do with him being a giant, horrifically awful human being.
So,
like, yeah, go ahead.
No, so I'll going back to your idea of criticism on him. We were very careful to couch all of our commentary on his work performance about his work performance, because we were, the way he spoke, we were aware that he was maybe inclined to use his disability as an out for those kind of things. So we were very careful to couch all of our conversations about his work performance. And there were a lot of them because his work performance was terrible, irrespective of of whether or not he was disabled. He's just terrible at life.
that's sad. He's just terrible at life.
It is, but
yeah. Again, go read. You got to go read his lawsuits with Taylor Swift. Or no, don't read them. I've got videos on all of this stuff. Go watch the videos about Russell Greer and start to learn about his opinions of women, his opinions of how he should own them and control them because he's disabled and will pay for it. And because every other man on earth doesn't treat women the way he will treat them. And he is legitimately owed sex from celebrities. Like, go. You will quickly lose any sympathy that you have for this guy because, it's nothing to do with his birth situation or anything like that. It's everything to do with his just horrifying opinions. Let's see. Next, we've got Gengio says, if he weren't so blatantly full of himself, this would come off as humor, and I can't help but think that there would be women into that kind of humor. He could. Yes. Short answer. Talbot Link says, I do feel bad, but can't stop smirking after that dance video. Russell's lip says, my life is so hot and moist. Gross. Oh, that's foul. BGamer2047 says, I stand corrected. That audition was awesome. Night of Hopex says, I feel bad for this guy because something seems to be wrong with him mentally. This is really pretty sad. There's no hope for people in this in-between state where they can be independently financially but not fully become adults. Awful to think about. Never mind. Himalto says, yes, please do a show on PZ Cuck Myers, self-appointed fourth horseman, and the SJW takeover the skeptic community, aka Atheism Plus. Oh, that sounds really the Big Red Bear says, my lack of amusement isn't because he's disabled, it's because he's pathetic. Well, then why are you funny? Tribane says, this is the last one. Has there been a time machine built yet? I need to convince myself to turn away from the screen before you showed that clip. Oh boy. Sorry, Sriracha, what were you going to say?
Oh no, I was just commenting. Yes, he is pathetic.
Yeah. It's definitely. So should we talked about reading those clips with the lips? What do you want? What do you guys want in the chat? Do you want the lips? I heard sensual or more feeling or whatever. Both of those sound awful.
The lips would be horrifying and yet probably amazing.
Yeah, do it.
Okay, we'll do the lips. This might get me banned from YouTube by itself. All right, I'm gonna leave my face up. So here's what we can. I can. No, this is too much work. I'm gonna leave my face up, so you can see the lips and everything. But I'm gonna read the passage, guys. Okay. So here it goes. Here it goes. Okay. This is what life is like, and you need to have it in the voice. Here we go. After I paid the amount in cash office, we walked like two lovers back to the VIP room. She wanted me to feel like a prince, and in the room she took her clothes off. I was in love with her body. She revealed a pink bra and pink panties. Her skin was a smooth brown. She urged me to get naked. I hesitantly did so and revealed my decently fit white body. What's with the colors? She then got completely naked and revealed everything. Her private area was smooth with no hair. She then kneeled down and put a condom on. Felt weird. I had never worn a condom before. After the condom was on, she began to suck me my penis. I was fully erect. She put all of me in her mouth. Her lips slid up and down on my penis. She then stood up and made out with me. She kissed me in a way to help with my disability. We even French kissed. I reached down and grabbed her pussy. I put my fingers into her vagina and began to finger her. It felt so good. Her vagina was so smooth. I put my fingers up as far as I could go, exploring inside her. After a while, we laid on her bed and began to have sex. She put my penis into her vagina. Her pussy was so tight. She began to ride me. After 20 minutes, after 20 minutes, I exploded in her with the condom on me. I laid on the bed and moaned as I ejaculated into her. It was like fireworks were going off. After a pleasurable minute, I was done coming in her. It was the best thing I had ever paid for. More importantly, I felt cared about. I felt like I was actually alive for the first time in my life. But what was sad was that I couldn't talk to anybody about my happiness. If I did, I would lose everything. I didn't come out about brothels until after I graduated and was working a non-religious job. Now, flash forward 4 years later to 2017, I have been to hospitals more times than I count. It wasn't even the sex that made it great. And trust me, I have to assume he says the sex was great. Oh, I feel like my soul needs a shower. 20 minutes. 20 minutes from the Chad Russell Greer. Ooh. Well, there you have beautiful.
It. I was dying during that entire reading, and I think you need to find a way to hose off your entire chat. They are dying as well.
Yeah. Don't worry. Everyone dies a little bit. Everyone dies a little bit. Yeah, that's disgusting. Well, I did find a way to hose off the entire chat. I just read that passage, and the screen is definitely a little bit soppier than it was. Well, I got a couple chats left, and then I guess, do you have any more stories, Cory, about Russell that you have prepared, or anything like that?
I didn't really have anything lined up, but I mean, I know Sriracha, if you have anything, any last minute questions, I'd be happy to answer any specific questions people have.
Well, I don't think I have anything from me, but I'm sure the chat room might.
Yeah, we'll check. I'll read them in just a second. But what we'll do is we'll finish up the chat, and then I think we'll put several nails in this cross and leave it out to die. We'll finish up the stream. I don't know. Are crucifixion jokes okay? 2,000 years later, like, is it soon enough? I never
Too
know
early.
when it's too early or too late to make the death jokes. So I apologize if anybody was horrifically offended by my very very contemporary crucifixion. Um. Oh God. All right. So Zero the Slayer says, this has been a very traumatic stream, Nick. What have I been subjected to? Reality. Sometimes we have to engage the dark side of reality, and this is that. TLJ Screwjob says, a person only lasted 2 weeks at my place of employment when there was usually a month of giving you leeway. One of the things they did was call out when their shift was supposed to start. Normally you gave 4 hours call in. Normally you give 4 hours notice. Was Russell that bad?
Okay, I will say I do troll Kiwi Farms a little bit. I am not on there, but I have heard that recently he's had a problem with attendance. He was actually pretty punctual while working for us. So I will say that to his credit. He showed up for the shifts he was scheduled for. He was just insane while doing so.
Well, there you go. So he was not that bad. Good job. Let's see.
Oh, sorry. There's been a couple of questions in your chat regarding whether or not I fired Russell Greer. No, I did not fire Russell Greer. I left employment for that particular company prior to Russell leaving employment. I don't know why he did. I assume it's because he finished his schooling and moved on to the one paralegal job that he managed to secure. But I don't have any information on that.
So you were fired before Russell. That's shameful. Absolutely.
Yep, no, I've been fired from like dozens of jobs. Russell's got nothing on me. It's like terrible. My work history is a mess.
Well, we don't need to talk about that. Don't dox yourself.
No, I'm just kidding.
Darth Bobcat says, we've discovered the opposite of ASMR. Yeah, there you go. First Last says, this goes out to my disabled brothers and sisters. Hit me up. It sucks. Boredom is the enemy. We will survive. I don't know how. Hunter King says, I want to die. Thanks, Nick. You're welcome. Remember, when Russell wanted to die, what he did was he found solace in the brothel. So, there's hope. Keyash the Pally says, dang it, Nick. I'm at work trying to eat lunch. What the hell did I walk into? A thing of beauty, I think. Arlarius says, your soul can take a shower at Ram Ranch. Spectrum Ball says, Nick, you were responsible for me going for a voluntary lobotomy. Are you happy now? Never happier. Sorry. Architect of Fate says, I'm trying not to react while listening to this at work. God bless headphones. Slanesh will champion you for this reading. Rister Crap says, Mr. Rekieta, I don't feel so well. I apologize. You should consult your doctor and definitely tell them what's causing your symptoms. Zoomer Hub says, hose off yourself. Get Sam Hyde on. This stream is tame and so is society. Tell yourself for good reason. Art comedy is dead. I have asked Sam Hyde to be on the show and have not gotten a positive response just yet, but I'm working on it. I would love to have Sam on the show. I think he'd be great. I'd love to talk about his prolific record of school shootings, how he keeps getting away with it. That seems like a good topic that people need to hear about. Ralph Griswold says, could Russ cuck Ron though? I can't even do that to Ron. I can't do that. I don't think so. Although he may develop an unhealthy relationship with Rial if he were exposed to her, and that would be very, very unfortunate. I would not actually wish Russell Greer's affection on anybody. In no hint of joking. He does seem to have, and there's an article about this. an article that I'm quoted heavily in on the legal side, but another article where a psychiatrist or psychologist or someone who is very interested in Russell has done some preliminary thoughts on his tendency that he displays similar tendencies to stalkers, and he talks about how and why. So I actually do not wish Russell's affections to be directed towards anybody, because I think they legitimately may be in danger. But you know, that's me. No one important says, after this, I'm going to have to go Baptist and then baptize them. Go to a Baptist and baptize them. Yes, do that. Lord Chippy Dip says, this stream puts the penis in happiness. Zoomer Hub says, I troll Kiwi Farms a bit. Hee hee, you're so cool. Sean Fisher says, Nick, you said you were painting Marines. I haven't done it in a long time. I just have a base coat of black and then a little bit of blue on top. Can we have a look? What's up?
No, I was just going to respond to that. I was going to say, I love that you love 40K. That's where I started painting stuff too.
Oh,
was
nice.
Was 40K, and I know you're not a fan of them, but I started with Space Wolves. So.
Yeah, they're just too Viking for me.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
It seems easy. It seems easy.
No, I got that. I moved on from them and paint some other stuff. So
I will say, but ironically, my favorite heresy book is Burning of Prospero, because I like the Scald that they had. I thought that was really tough.
I don't know. I like Russ as well. He's pretty cool.
Russ is good. Russ is good when they let him talk, but the rest of it, I'm not a big fan of Ragnar Blackmane.
Yeah.
Or can you tell us what Legion you're painting? I think I've seen Ultra Smurfs. Yeah, that's the kit that I bought. It was like a $5 sampler kit. And they are Ultramarines, and I only have them just to kind of get a feel for the paint. If I ever buy stuff, I wouldn't paint. Joshua Durbin says, Russ, finger, Ron. He might have better luck with that. Oh, gross. Dubler says, just got back from a week of vacation, and what is this? This is beauty. And Darian the Ghoul, final super chat, says, there's not enough bleach in the world for me to bathe in or drink to cleanse myself after this stream. Ugh. Well, there you go, folks. There you go. That's the joy of Russell Greer. I strongly encourage you to. I'll add this video to the Russell Greer playlist, but I do encourage you to watch the other ones. They're a hoot. They're a hoot. Did you guys have any closing thoughts, Cory or Sriracha?
Just don't feel bad for Russell. Regardless, like I said at the beginning of the stream, if his facial paralysis is the least offensive thing about him, and if you need more confirmation on that, listen to literally any Greer stream we've done previous to this.
Yeah. Or just go read about him on your own. You don't even need to take our word for it. You can read about it. It's horrifying. it's like, well, you know, part of his ways to get into Taylor Swift's good graces was to send gifts to everyone in her family that he could find. Lots of gifts, you know, because that's what you do when you've never met someone, is you send tons of gifts without their consent to their house, and then you use the fact of you sending them gifts as to reasons why they should then do things that you ask them to do. So there's gross.
Yeah.
Cory, do you have any closing stuff?
No, I was just going to echo that. Is, you know, none of the commentary that you see about Russ is about his disability. It's all about his insane thought process, if you can call it that. So, you know, read his words for what they are, disregard the disability, and understand that he's kind of insane.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a way. Several chats did come in, so let's close those out, and then we will close this. But I like to try and make sure, if I can. And I think I'm getting too far away from the mic that I'm cutting out, so I apologize. I'll fix that. The Big Red Bear says, Space Wolves, Minotaurs, Word Bearers, Orcs, Tau. Very cool. Reek says, Nick, what would you say to another 40K stream every few months? Oh, I definitely want to do it. I want to get Arch Warhammer on to talk about it too. I had a conversation with him, but I think the timing of the stream was just a little rough for his schedule. Esme Elias Anime says, the base is fucking raw. What the F is going on? Where's the lamb sauce? Gordon Ramsay rants. The bass, not the bass. I always read that word as bass. Sorry. Zoomer Hub says the show Jackass. Crap, drinking, and encouragement of drugs. MSM gives it a pass. Sam Hyde, analyzing society and laughing at its flaws. No! Embrace the disillusion. Acid Blade 21 with the final chat says, Blood Angels Death Company is my squad. So there you go, guys. To my guests, Sriracha, Cory, thank you so much for joining me for just a time to sit back and laugh that there is someone out there in the world who is more terrifyingly screwed up than anybody you've met. Well, except for you, Cory, because you...
Yeah, I've met him once.
And here's to hoping nobody else ever does meet him.
Yes. Oh, and the top link in the description is Sriracha's Twitch channel. So go ahead and check that out. I assume you still stream on Twitch, right, Sriracha?
I do, and I'll post my Twitter in the chat.
Yes, it's at delete your account, but it's like your account. But
Yeah.
definitely follow her on Twitter. And Cory, did you want me to include your Twitter handle in any of this, or do you want to remain in the background?
No, feel free. I don't mind. Other than that, I don't do much online other than run a small whiskey blog. That's about it.
We need to maybe talk on that front at some point. It's at TOW Whiskey 1, right?
Yep, that is my Twitter handle. Yep.
Okay, I just I threw it out to the chat. I'll throw it up in the description when the stream is closed down. Thank you all for watching. Thank you to my guests. We're gonna leave you now, and I'll see you tomorrow night. I was gonna have Sword and Scale on tomorrow night, but some personal stuff came up, and so we're postponing that. Hopefully we'll have that next week. Tomorrow I will probably be talking about Vic with the KamehaCon announcements. I did a short video on it, but there may be some more information to drag out of that, and so I will update, of course, and tweet out what we're going to talk about tomorrow. But thank you all for watching. You guys have a fantastic night, and peace.